Hey, how's it going? EDC Squirrel here. Hope everybody's having a good one. I don't know how that worked out. I was trying to fiddle with some of the audio. I should probably turn some of those other buttons off. Oh yeah, I gotta unplug something too before I forget. Alexa, go away. There we go. So no more getting bugged by my echo. All right, so still kind of getting ready and setting some stuff up here because I was watching a Whatnot show, Chasing Blades, of course. Oh, you're playing Hogwarts? Nice, Morgan. Hey, Steven, how you doing? I was watching a Chasing Blades show, and he just got out. He got off the show a little while ago, and I know some people had some questions on stuff, so I'm gonna try to fit them in here. Well, I shouldn't have to try. I don't have that much stuff going on this week, but I decided I still wanted to run a live anyway because I'm finding this to be really fun. Hey, Josh, welcome in. Just having a sip of coffee, making sure I've got everything. Because the plan today, because I don't have that many new knives to show, admittedly. I've been trying to be a good boy, at least with my money, because I've got a lot of stuff I've got to pay for that is coming up. I'm trying to help my girlfriend with dental stuff, and that's going to be like, oh God. If you know anything about dental stuff, you already know how much that's going to be. I've got to deal with my own dental stuff after that. I got to change. Oh my God, I got to change my insurance. I still have time. Oh, good. Almost forgot about that. So basically, it's a mess of thing. So I'm trying to be a good boy. I still remember I do save some stuff for entertainment. So I'm okay there. It's just not going to be as insane as it's been the last few weeks. Because I know it's been pretty insane. Then I'm trying to save up for the 15th. Let me go ahead and clear this screen because I just realized I have the starting soon thing up. Now, before I begin, because otherwise I will forget, if you are not on Whatnot, go check it out. I do have a link below. I don't really run auctions anymore, mainly because I don't really have anything I really want to sell. Hey, Waylon. And but what I wanted to bring up is, like I mentioned, I was on the Chasing Blades show earlier today, and on the 15th of this month coming up, they're going to be doing a special show from the warehouse of their distributor. So if you're not on Whatnot now, that might be a good time to check it out, because they're going to have access to literally thousands of items that they normally don't have on their shows. I mean, they can get them, but from what I understand, they're giving Chasing Blades complete access to their warehouse and the ability to sell, I think, the majority of what they have access to in that warehouse. I'm trying to save up for a couple spider codes, and if you know spider codes, they can be pretty pricey. So yeah, fire sales, 50,000 inventory. It's going to be live. He also has a stipulation, Mike. He's one of the two brothers that he actually does most of the talking for Chasing Blades. They also gave him the stipulation that in order to run their show in the warehouse, that their distributor gets to paint his toenails. So that's going to be something that's going to be happening live. They're going to be painting his toenails as well. But like I said, I'm trying to save money for that, which is why I don't have a lot that came in this week. I do still have a couple items. We're going to go over my current collection also, if you guys have questions about that, because I haven't gone through it in a little while, and I think I could do with doing some maintenance on it. Also, Morgan got me a display case that I still have yet to put up, but I'm going to go through some of my stuff and see what's going to be going in that case, and maybe, I mean, I'm not going to be able to put it up on the wall yet, but maybe we can start setting it up and see what's going to go in there. But that's the plan for today anyway. Not to mention just chatting with you guys, and if you guys have any questions on what I have, or thoughts on just sharing information. So to get things started, like I always do, I do have a few things that came in from actually from Chasing Blades. In fact, I think the only things I have that came in are from Chasing Blades, and I only have a couple knives. I did get a new thing from Kaiser, and I do have one thing. Actually, now that I think about it, I threw it up on my Buy It Now, because I don't do auctions on Whatnot anymore. I only did it because I was in financial straits, or thought it was going to be in financial straits anyway. But I do still have a Buy It Now section in my Whatnot. A lot of it's Labubu stuff, because for some odd reason, my girlfriend had like completely gone nuts on Labubu, and I have a bunch of Labubu stuff. But I still have some other stuff that might interest you. Did I get your Discord message? Did I? Hold on, Morgan. I'm trying to keep up with everything. Oh, the miniature steak branding irons? Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about your CPU thing? I don't know if I got that. I know you're getting a new CPU. Procrastination. Shush. I haven't had time. It's been busy. I've been really busy. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, what I want to show. Now, I did get some stuff from Chasing Blades. It's only like a couple knives, but at least it's something to look at. First one I got was this, and I was going to burn this, but I don't know if I want to anymore. This one is a dark red bone standard jig trapper. And I was looking at it, and it looks so strawberry-like. I don't know. It looks really cool. This is the first red bone I have from Case anyway. And now, if you remember I think it was last week, I ran a test. And the test I thought did okay. Where did I put that one? I put that one in a case somewhere. I think the test ran okay. But I think also the other thing that happened is I don't know if it was entirely bone. And I might have been feeling a little funny afterwards. Not going to lie. I just got to figure out where I put that thing. I know. There it is. Now, I ran a test on a Browning red bone that actually looked really nice. And as you can see, I did a toast test on this. Yeah, the GPU, not CPU, I'm sorry. Let's see here. And it didn't come out too bad. I really wanted to go dark, which is why it's really dark. And I wanted to make sure I got the peaks on the jigging. And this is a Browning. The only thing is, as I was burning this one started smelling kind of funny. So, but I don't know. After looking at the red on this one, I'm not sure if I want to toast it. I'll be honest. Because the red looks really good. And this is the only one I've got on them. Normally, I like to get two of something, and I'll keep one and then toast the other. I might have to pick another one up. I don't know. But this one, I don't know what it is about this red, almost orange color. But I'm kind of reluctant to do it now that I got it in. That's another one I got from Chasing Blades. Again, this is how the test came out. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think. I think Mike really liked it. Chasing Blades really liked the way that one looked. I've been calling it like a chocolate-covered strawberry. But I don't know. I'm still undecided. And if I do, I very well might pick up a different red bone, like a second one, and do it on the other. Depends on how good the other red bone looks. But we've got that one, and I've only got one other one today, this week, and that would be this baby right here. This one, oh my god! I have a thing like the funny thing is there's a favorite color group that I like when it comes to a lot of things, and Mike and I share the same favorites in terms of color. And hold on a second. And the funny thing is, I don't have too many of it in knives. Like I have very few knives with that favorite color. But we both like red and black This one came in a cigar box case. This is a mini trapper. And oh my God, where did this black ink come from before I start spreading this everywhere? That came off something. I don't know what they came off of. I don't know what that was. This is a, what is this? I forgot what this is called. It's a Kerinite cinnamon bone, or no, Kerinite cinnamon. Is it a cinnamon? Good grief. Do they list the name on this thing? Because they don't actually have the name on this. Okay, what was the number on this guy? Because this is going to bug the hell out of me. Oh, you know what? I don't have the box for, or the invoice for this anymore. I'm going to have to look it up. I know it's a Kerinite cinnamon swirl Kerinite mini trapper. That's what it's called. And they come in a gift box, the cigar gift box. And I just loved the look on these. And a lot of Kerinites like Coralon, no two are going to look the same because of the way that swirl pattern's created. And I'm just really liking the color on that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of red and black. But I don't have too many. I don't have many knives that have that same color. That and the black badge looks really cool. This little thing's up like a protector. It's supposed to hold the blades in this position, so that way it fits in various display cases, which is actually kind of neat. And that is easily removed. And cool thing about these minis, they also have a half stop, which I really like. Where's my cleaning cloth? There we are. But this one, I think as soon as he showed it, I was chomping at the bit and just decided screw it and getting it. I just really like the color on this. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and I love the shine. The shine's actually coming through on the camera, but there's like a, I don't know what they call that, like a luminescence going on. It's not just a reflection of the light. It's not. I'm not talking about how it's just shiny or reflecting the light, but there's like a interesting luminescence going on with that scale. You can see the shift. And I just really love this thing. And this thing is sharp as all get out. I'm going to put this back in. This is probably going to be one of the ones going into that display case I was talking about earlier. And then we'll just fold these over. Then you can see how the little plastic piece sort of lets the blade rest on it so it can't close all the way. Then it fits right back into the cigar box. Sort of fits in the cigar box. Found it's not really easy to get these things back in once you get them out. So those are the two things I got new from Chasing Blaze. Really the only things that I got this week. Like I said, I've had to slow my things down for the upcoming 15th show, as well as everything else I'm trying to save up for. I did want to point out something that I do have. This one, now I mentioned before, I haven't run a show in a while, but I did put this up, I believe, if anybody's interested. I'm just making a point that it is available. I did put this up on my Buy It Now. It is open to offers as well. This one is a Civivi. Now, I'm not going to open this box because this one is essentially brand new. I mean, I don't know if I can call it brand new because I'm not a dealer or anything, but I did open the box to take a peek to make sure everything's in there. But I'm not gonna bother opening it again because I don't want to mess the box up. And what this is, it's a Civivi Terax. Now, the reason why I'm not bothering with this one is because I've already got one in my collection. So this is what's in this box. A Civivi. Where's the sticker? There it is. The Civivi Terax. So I happened upon a second one, and since I've already got one in my collection, this is before I started keeping a spreadsheet of what I have in my collection, and I didn't realize I had a second one. I don't really need a second one, but it's the exact same as this. So you've got a natural G10, Stainless steel scales. I'm pretty sure this is considered a frame lock, only because it's a little weird. I've seen some refer to it as a liner, but I'd just call it a frame lock. You got a reversible pocket clip on this one, drop point blade. I believe this is 14C or Nitro V. I'm trying to figure. There it is. It's a Nitro. I don't know if it'll show up on there. Nitro V steel. You can just barely see it right above the bolster. So Nitro V steel, good steel. I don't know the length of the blade. I should have probably looked everything up before I started going all willy-nilly. The length of this blade is going to be about 3.5 inches. And I found where my scale was, so at least I can use that again. The weight on this scale is going to be just around 5 ounces, 4.9 ounces. So if you're interested, I do have this one available on my Buy It Now. Again, it's the exact same knife as this. I mean, if you want to take a look at it, I can take it out of the box. But otherwise, this is what you'd be getting, essentially. So I just wanted to point that out in case anybody was interested. And that'll help me get some new stuff later on. That's the hope anyway. And that is open to offers. Okay, so those were really the new knives that I've got today. Like I said, I didn't have a whole lot. So one of the things I was going to do was go over my collection. And if you guys had any questions or anything like that on what I had, feel free to ask. Let me put this away. And there we go. And then work on, as well, probably at the same time, try to decide what's going to go into this display box. Now, I've shown the display box before. This is the thing that Morgan got me. I just haven't had time to put it up yet. So we are going to work on figuring out what I'm going to put in here. I have a good idea on what I might be putting up in here already. But then this way you guys get to see. So, let's see here. So this is the display case I got from Morgan. Now, I believe it's a locking display case. And I guess it could lie flat, but I kind of want to hang it up on the wall. Yeah, you can see my ring light there. There we go. And it is warm in here. Hold on, I'm going to open a window. Warm as hell. I got lights going on. I've got my computer running. That's better. All right. Yeah, feel free and ask me any questions. Did you really think the toast on that red bone looked good, Josh? But this is the case. This is the display case that I'm going to be setting up. I think I have this upside down. The grooves are on the other side. And this is a pretty big case. And I really like to try to get this up on the wall. God, there's so much candy around in this apartment. It's crazy. What is she doing with all this? I can't eat all this. I'm going to end up dying. And I think my measuring tape got buried in all of it. Oh, well. I'll make do. Oh, found it. There we go. So this thing's like, how big is this? 17.5 by just like 14 and an eighth. Maybe a 14 and actually probably closer to 14.5 with those buckles. This opens up, and then these things are slotted to help keep whatever I'm putting there in place. I got this from Morgan. She bought this for me as a present, but I'm pretty sure this came through on Amazon. And I'm going to go over and see what I want to put in there. That's what it looks like. Now, we're going to go over the collection. Oh, and I know you wanted to see something specific, Josh. We'll go over that. I'm going to be scattered today. I'm like all over the place. I think a lot of what's going to end up going in there is going to be a lot of traditional knives. Now, a lot of the knives I do have, I do make a point to use. So I like to use my knives, but there are some that have some sentimental value, or I've collected them for a very specific reason that I know I probably will never use, and those are going to just be right up in display. But let's see, where do I want to start? Let's start with my current case collection. And this is going to kill some of y'all because I still am working on, like, I've got several knife cases to help, organize and stuff like that. But my collection has kind of exploded. And it's grown faster than my storage has grown. Let's see here. Yeah, my collections grew a lot faster than my ability to store things. So the majority, if not all of my case collection, for example, is in this here. It's in a Skechers shoebox. And now this isn't all of them, but this is a majority of it. There's my case collection. And some of these boxes are empty because some of them I did other stuff with. Like I've toasted a few of these, like this box is empty. That's not. This is empty, that's empty. That's empty. That's empty. So I've got a few empty boxes in here. I've kept the boxes, but I'm debating just tossing them. Part of the reason I've kept some of the boxes is so I know what the hell they are. Because I'm sorry, Case, but some of the names of your knives are about like a mile long. And I have trouble remembering what half that stuff is. So that's one of the reasons why I still keep the boxes around. I know there's a lot of people that keep boxes because they like to collect. They like to keep everything like that they collect. Mine is mainly so I can still identify what the heck I have in my collection. And like those were all empty boxes. Actually, I think those were all empty boxes. Yeah, those were all empty boxes. That's not. That's empty. That's not. Oh, there's a hen and a rooster in here. What are you doing in here? And I think that should be all the empty boxes. Yeah, that's all the empty boxes, I think. No, I lied. That was an empty box. So that's the majority of my case collection. Again, not all of my case. I have no idea if you're empty or not. Natural smooth bone, you're empty. You're empty. God dang it. You're not empty. I gotta start putting my empties in a different box. I actually have a large box of empty boxes that I really should just toss. Because otherwise I can't like store all of it. I have my spreadsheet. So there's that. And not all of these, but a good portion of these are going to go, I'm guessing, I'm thinking of putting in the display. Like I got my fire and box, any of my Coralons will probably go in there. Other knives would be like, I don't know about some of the exclusives because those can still be purchased. That's empty. Some of those can be still purchased. I'm more worried about the ones that are harder to replace, because obviously, since they're harder to replace, if something were to happen to them, I can't get another one. Like, for example, this is definitely going in the case. This is that vintage hunter that I had to hunt down because I was born the same year I was. And I know somebody figured out what it was. Somebody figured out the year. Let me wipe this clean. And if you can't remember what the year is, I'll let you guys figure it out. There it is again. My age is no real secret. I just found it funny that people are trying to guess it, so I just never said anything about it. So that's that. So, like, that's going to go in there, because trying to replace this would be, like, good luck. I know you can still find these. But I don't want to have to pay for it again. So, yeah, I got to go through all this, figure out what I want to put in there. But, yeah, this is how... Now, keep in mind, I've owned maybe... I just really started heavily collecting traditional knives, like, this year. I'd say roughly around the middle of the year, maybe a little earlier. I had a few case knives. I had a few Rough Rider. And what I mean by a few, I had maybe between 3 and 5 total. Okay, of each. But I never really got into collecting them until I got into Whatnot and just seeing how cool a lot of the varieties were. Might have gone a little nuts. I'm not going to lie. But we wanted to go over some of this stuff. Like this one especially. I know Joshua wanted to see, because we're going to do a little test with it as well. And then there's this big fella. All right. Then I want to get these out of... I need new cases so I can get them out of a shoebox. I'd much prefer storing these in a more conventional storage system than in a shoebox, because this shoebox can't handle the weight of all this crap. We'll go over some more of those. And like this one, and I'm not sure how I'm going to display this, because this one's already in its own kind of like display box. This is that zombie outbreak one, which I thought was really cool. I have a thing for zombies. A little. 103 years old. What? Hey, Donnie, how you doing? I might have a bit of an addiction. And I started out, like, I've been collecting knives for quite some time, long before I started YouTubing about it. But most of my stuff has been modern stuff. And then I got so interested in the traditionals, I ended up grabbing a bunch of Rough Riders, thought those were really cool. Then somebody introduced me to Case, and then I lost more money trying to slow down. And I'm the type of person that likes to use what I have for the majority. There are some stuff like this that I probably won't use, but it's not. I like to get stuff that I can use, and it's becoming a problem with some of these cases. So yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to display this one, because I do want to keep it in its own little display case. But stuff that I'm going to be displaying or putting in that box or that case is going to be stuff like this, for example. This is that fire in box. These are also getting much harder to get, because these are one of those that they tend to be limited. Now, it's not like it's insanely limited. I think they made, 2,500 of these? The fire in box ones by Michael Prater. But they're all unique in their own way. So they are getting harder and harder to get. Also, when you find one that you really like the look of, like I did with this one, like you might see a few of these, but again, you're not going to find any two that are going to look the same. So when you find one where the swirls and all the colors just look good to you, you got to snap it up quick because there's not going to be another one like it. But that'll probably go in there. Now, what Josh wanted me to check out was this here. He said he had a similar knife. This is my, or he has the same knife, technically. This is my Wildlife Series Squirrel. Now, I've been collecting every squirrel knife that I came across. There's one more squirrel knife that I found out exists with the name Squirrel, and I think it's a small fixed blade. I found it on Amazon. It's not very expensive. I'm going to have to snap it up because then that would mean I've got every knife named or has anything to do with a darn squirrel, as far as I know, in production, or at least was in production. And Josh's squirrel knife, I believe he said it was lightening up. I know mine is also a little on the lighter side, which is fine with me. It doesn't bother me none. But I think you said you wanted yours a little darker. Yeah, Whatnot is definitely a this isn't my seller. This is my dealer. He's my pusher, my dealer, chasing blades. But Josh has got one of these, and he was thinking or wanting to darken it up a little bit more. And now there are ways you can go about that, from what I understand, what I discovered. Some of them are simple, others are permanent. The problem with the permanent ways of doing this is that if it gets mucked up, well, it's permanent. You're kind of screwed. And one of the ways I was thinking of doing it is if I really wanted to make sure it was permanent, not have to worry about it again, technically I can take my torch to it and toast it like I did some of my others. The problem is, wow, I can't talk. The problem is, while you can torch something to make it darker, if you muck up, you can't make it lighter. So once you've burnt the bone, that's it. And this is a bone. This is a bone scale on this. Once you've burned the bone, that's it. That's done. You can't really get it any lighter. There might be ways to do it. I'm not familiar with them, but from what I've been told by everybody, like once you've done that, yeah, that's it. I think soaking in tea might do it, but I think that works only for dyes and not actually a burn. But that's one way to kind of make it permanent. You just got to be really careful, obviously, because it's a permanent change to the bone. And it's a lot harder to control unless you've been doing it for a very long time. And I don't think I trust myself. I mean, I've toasted quite a few knives, but I don't know if I trust myself with something like this, because these are limited. I believe they've only made 500 of these when they stopped production of them. So I kind of don't want to mess it up. Now, the other way, it's not a permanent thing, but what I've been told, and let me go grab a cloth here. The other way I've been told that they do it is, I'm going to grab a couple cloths here. I don't want this mucking up my my mats. I thought I had another oilcloth. It might have. Oh my god. Okay, it might have fallen back behind my desk. I got so much crap on my desk. Okay, well, I'll just substitute this one. Old cloth to grab up any oil. And what I'm going to use to see if this darkens it up, because this is what a lot of people have mentioned. This is camellia oil. This is Japanese knife oil. Now, I don't necessarily understand what makes up this oil. I've been told it's like mineral oil with like a scented mineral oil. I don't know exactly, but it is an oil that is made for use to protect knives. I mean, it's specifically made to protect knives. It is made in Japan. I use it on a lot of my non-stainless steel blades, like carbon steel. I've got some swords I use it for, to keep them from, to help protect them from rust, help keep them clean. A little of it does go a long way. This is a little pricier than like mineral oil would be. The mineral oil should work about the same, but I do like this stuff a lot. This is I'm down half the bottle, and this has lasted me literally hundreds of knives as well as a few swords and stuff. This I've gotten from Amazon, and I believe I have it also in the description. So if you're looking to get some, I should have it in the description below, and that helps me out as well if you go through that link. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a little bit of oil. I've got an oilcloth that I've been using, and you can drip a little bit on it, directly on the knife, or put it on the cloth. I'm just going to go ahead and put a drop on the knife itself. And as you can see there, that's what it looks like. I probably should have done that before. That's what the bone looks like on this. I'm going to take my cloth. I'm just going to wipe that down a little bit. I'm not going to do the very end. I'm going to go up to the shield there and see what we have in terms of difference here. So this will focus. It did darken it up a hair. You can see I still got a little oil there. Just a hair. I mean, some of the lighter areas I think look like they're going to remain lighter. But I put a good sheen on it. Now, I was tempted to use Wicked Wax, but I haven't seen the Wicked Wax darken it up like oil does. Oil does seem to darken up a bit. Not a whole lot. I don't know if it's just because it gives it a more of a wet look. Also, keep in mind that the oil will seep into the bone. Like, it'll soak that up. And the reason why I know that is when I've cleaned a lot of my cases, I use the same exact oil, and I've seen where, like, especially on a lot of smooth bone knives. In fact, we'll take a look at that too. We'll look at a smooth natural bone and see what happens. But I'll notice like a dark, like almost like a wet spot on the natural bone, and I know that's from the oil. And eventually it actually disappears. So it's not like a permanent thing. So there's that. That's on the badge side. We're going to go now. The other side is a lot lighter. So we'll see how that looks here. You can see mine's a lot lighter. I'll put a drop. We'll spread this about. So just a hair. Looks like it darkened it up just a hair. And like I said, it will soak up the oil a little bit, especially around the pins area. It might take a little bit of time for it to actually spread around. So if you see like darker circles around the pins, that's the bone kind of soaking up that oil. And it'll eventually even out, and then the circle, if there is one, will disappear. So you don't have to worry about like any oil spots being like permanent on the scale. So just a hair darker. That was with the camellia oil. And it might darken a little bit over time as well. But what I'll do is I'll apply this a little bit over and over the course of maybe a few days. And it's really good for shining up wood as well. I know a lot of people use this for stuff like micarta, to make the micarta look real new. Like, I'll give you an example. If you have micarta, a micarta scaled knife, and if you like the new look, like some people like it when they're all patinaed or like a worn looking. I should have, where did I put my longhouse? Here we are. Here's my longhouse. This one's was this like a blue jean micarta? Canvas micarta? I forget. But a lot of micarta tends to have this like dry look to it when you first get it. And some people like it. Like this doesn't bother me at all. I like it. But some people like it when they look really new. And one thing I like to do with these, people use oil, but when it comes to micarta, I like using Wicked Wax. One thing about Wicked Wax that I hadn't mentioned is it doesn't really slick up the side of the knife like oil normally would, which is another reason why I like using it. I prefer using it on handles. So, to give you an idea what this is going to do to the micarta, I got some Wicked Wax here. Now, you can use things like beeswax, you know, people mention Burt's Bees, things like that. The only thing with those is I prefer to use something that's more of a paste because it's a lot easier to apply. And you just rub it in on the micarta. And you can already see there, I'll leave a little bit undone. And like I was saying before, it doesn't feel too slick. At least the Wicked Wax doesn't make it too slick. And some people use oil to do this as well. I think the Wicked Wax tends to last a little longer. I haven't done like a full test or comparison, I guess. That gives you an idea of how that's going to look. That'll get your micarta looking like brand spanking new, if that's what you like. I know some people prefer the worn, some people like the brand spanking new micarta. And like I said before, I like to use Wicked Wax or similar waxes because it doesn't make it feel too slippery. I still can get a good grip after wiping all like the excess off. There we go. I can still get a good grip on this. Doesn't feel like it's going to fly out of my hand like if I've got a bunch of oil on it. And this is a really neat knife, by the way. But you can see big difference on this. It's not a permanent change either, which is nice. So if you do this to one of your micarta knives and you're like, you know what, I kind of preferred it when it was worn out, that's eventually going to go away and you'll go back to this at some point. So it's not a permanent change by doing that, by adding like a Wicked Wax or any paste wax. It's not going to be a permanent change to it. So yeah, if you prefer it like this after you've applied it, it'll get back there soon enough. Just use it like you normally would and it'll eventually go away. The hardest part about these is getting them in underneath the clip. I don't like having to remove the pocket clips because I'm lazy as all get out. So what I end up doing is I'll apply as much wax around the area as possible. And then a lot of times what I'll do is, this is where oil would actually be better, is because oil will run whereas wax doesn't run. It stays kind of where you put it. So it would be easier to get under there without having to remove the clip. But then I'll take it, I'll have a little bit of wax on the cloth, and then I'll actually slip the clip over it, and then run this back and forth for a little bit to get under that pocket clip as much as I can. There we go. See? Easy enough. Aside from a spot here or two. And I like the look either way. Personally, on the longhouse, I think I prefer, even though I keep adding more wax. I'm weird like that. I want things to be even. Even though I'm adding more wax. I actually think I prefer the worn look a little better. Although that does look pretty good. And again, I'm not worried about it because I know this will wear away eventually. So that worn look will return. To give, like for example, this one, where is it? I'm looking at the wrong case. Are these all empty boxes? Good grief. Yes, you are. Go away. Like this one was at one point, I had wax all over it. And you can see it's already returning to a worn state. You can see this side didn't have as much of the wax rubbed off. But this one's already returning to a worn state. And this is from sitting in a case. So yeah, even just sitting in a case, it'll eventually start wearing away. I've only carried this a few times since I waxed it. We'll go over some of those. Really cool longhouse. I like them. Solid knife. Awesome steel on these. Not cheap though. Do be aware. I did come across a longhouse that I don't know what was going on with the case at the time. That did have quite a bit of blade movement on it. So if you're looking to buy one, make sure you give it a good once over before you do. But otherwise, this one is nice. And I haven't carried this a lot yet. I've carried it a few times, but I plan on carrying this a lot more. Okay, but let's see how this goes. Let's see how that looks. It did darken up a little bit. Again, I don't know if that's what you're looking for, Josh. But it did give it a little bit, like it did make the color pop a little bit more. Or at least in my eyes. I don't know if it's coming out on the camera as well. But to me, it made it pop a little bit more. Gave it a nice shine. I did notice it seemed to darken a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit. I don't know if that's what you're looking to do. I know you said you're trying to darken up the spots. Personally, the way I am is when it comes to bone, I like the imperfections of bone. I like seeing, the natural imperfections in the bone. To me, it makes it just that much more unique to me. So I as long as it's not like like messed up, like a massive chip or something like that. When it comes to like color, or like we were talking about the natural, like the white natural bone, like the freckles or some of the lines that naturally occur in bone itself, I actually really like those. Now, I did have another natural bone. Where is it? Oh, this one is a Baron Son. And I wanted to oil this one up so maybe we can see what it would look like a little better, what that oil does. This one's a Baron Son. There's no badge on these, but this is a natural bone. And you can see when I clean this because I'll oil this and I'll pour oil down the wells and everything. This wasn't there before. And I just haven't tried to even it out. But you'll notice that dark circle around the pin. That's where oil got in. And again, it doesn't bother me any, because I know eventually that'll go away or even out. But what I'm going to do is I dropped a little bit of oil on there, and I just had my cloth. And it might take some time for it to actually work itself in. And it's possible it might not. A lot of it depends on the bone also. Some bone is more porous than others. Also, to be quite honest, I don't know if they use a sealant on theirs, and I think it's possible the only reason why it made its way in there is because of the pin. I don't know if they have a sealant over the rest of the bone here. I know case doesn't appear to have a sealant or anything. Like, so I know some knives, some bone knives, they'll put some type of sealant, or they'll coat it in like some type of clear coat, polyurethane or something like that, to protect the bone. And in trying to burn Like, I'm pretty sure that one browning might have had a little bit of something like that in there. Because while I did smell the bone, it was smelling kind of funny. So I'm wondering if I might have burned something in that. I don't know. And you can see where oil might have darkened up around here as well. And again, it always seems to occur right by the pins. So that's why I'm thinking that, you know, that's where it's soaking in. But I'm just applying a little bit of oil to see if it evens out a little bit. We might have to come back to it later because it might need time to work its way in. There we go. But I was talking about, like, it might be a little hard to see here, but like, this is a natural bone. But those imperfections I'm talking about, I don't really see them as imperfections, but you can see where there's a little lighter spots. Like, it's not an even white. And I actually look for those. Now, this one is a lot more even than a lot of the other knives I've had. There's one, where's actually a better one? Take a look at. I have a copper lock, natural bone copper lock. The problem is I'd have to go through my shoebox again to find it. And I thought that the copper lock looked so good because of the, oh, here it is, Trapper. Because of what Chasing Blades and I call, or at least I called them, freckles. Where is it? Here we are. Natural bone. Yes, I do keep these all in the boxes. The only reason why they're still all in boxes is because I haven't had a way to either display or store them yet. But here we go. This one's a case version. You can see all the little dark spots. I like to call them freckles. But those are all naturally occurring in the bone. And there's some color gradient, like some little gradations or gradients in the color. Like, you can see where some's a little more brownish, a little bit more white, some streaks of white. On the other side, like, there's a nice streak of white down the middle. A lot more freckles back here. There's a reason why I didn't burn or toast this one. It's because I just really like the way the natural bone looked on this. And it even goes a little gray towards the sides or towards the bolsters. But that's what I'm talking about, like the natural look of bone. No two knives are really going to look the same, even between like the squirrel knives, because there's, you know, it might have been either dyed or burned, but they're all going to have a unique look, and no two are going to look exactly alike. And that's one of the reasons why I like natural materials like this, like bone, buffalo horn, stag horn, things like that. Is even the same model is going to look, you know, could look vastly different from another one. And that's one of the things that kind of hooked me onto these case knives, was their uniqueness even among the same model number. The fact that none of them are going to look truly alike. Because I admit, I kind of have a thing for very unique knives. That's another reason why I started collecting a lot of these. And let's see if that evened out a little bit. I can see a lot more oil made it around the bolster area, kind of soaked into this white bone. On this one's a little harder to tell. I can see it started darkening up a little bit here. Maybe a little bit here, but it's not soaking in as well on this side. And that's going to happen because of the differences in the bone. But I feel like this side darkened up quite a bit in comparison. Now, I could continue to pour a little bit more oil on it, and especially where the bone meets the rest of the handle, where it's mounted in the handle. Like here, the bolsters again, the pins, or along the bottom here. Might help it soak in a little bit more. Because what I'm hoping it does is it wicks in underneath the bone, and it finds better places for the bone to allow the oil to seep in. I think it seeped in pretty well on this side because I know this. I don't believe this was anywhere near as dark as before, and it might be a little hard to see with the light, but at least with my naked eye, it does appear like it soaked up quite a bit of that oil. It's still a little darker around the pin area, but I can see it's darkened up a little bit over here. And overall, it seems a little darker. This one just doesn't seem like it soaked it in as quickly. It may still continue to take some time for it to really soak in a lot of that oil that I put on there. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could dunk the sucker in there. I just don't have enough oil to do any dunking. But see how that works for you. And I'm sorry, I missed some of the chat. Doing great. Oh, Donnie's fixing your mom's washing machine? I gotta do laundry later. And you like zombie stuff too, Waylon? I got that. Okay, we're gonna go over some of that because that's another thing that's gonna go in I think in the display case. That is looking a bit darker to me. I don't know. It's a little harder to tell because again, I'm looking at it with my own eyes, and I know it's not gonna look exactly the same from the camera. But we'll let this sit for now. It's funny that I just caught you mentioning zombie knives because I've been a big fan of zombie stuff for quite some time now. And my girlfriend was awesome enough to find me and get me this set. Now, this is not Case. This is Rough Rider. And these things are getting harder and harder to find. One of these knives was really hard to find, and I got really lucky. You might be familiar with them. I showed them before. This is the Zombie Nick series. Now, there's more to this series than just the folding pocket knives, the traditionals. I know they had like a fixed blade and some other stuff, but I was just interested in the traditional knives. And I've got, as far as I know, I've got all of them now. There's a full-size Trapper. And I don't know if this is, I'd like to say this is a synthetic. I don't believe this is like a green bone. I don't see any of those like slight imperfections you normally would see in bone. So I'm pretty sure these are synthetic. I've got the Trapper. I've got now this comes in several names. I've heard sunfish. I call them elephant toes. This big honking thing. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be putting all these into that same display case. But yeah, she was awesome enough to have gotten me the whole set. Except when she got the whole set, one was missing. And it was this one here. This one was this one. This one I think was a razor. Yeah, single-bladed razor. And hang on a second. We got to fix something. Okay. This one was the one that was super hard to find. And I was afraid I was never going to find it. And this is what completed this collection here was the canoe. And Like, I was really worried that I just wasn't going to find this anymore. Because I even asked SMKW about these, because SMKW owns the IP for Rough Rider, and even they said, they were like, yeah, unless somebody's got one hidden away in one of their desk drawers over there, I probably wasn't going to find one. And then I got so lucky in in finding someone that had a few of these still new in box, that I actually grabbed 2 of these. I have another one. I have an extra canoe that I'm kind of hanging on to, and I'm debating putting it up for sale on Whatnot. I just haven't done it yet. So I do have another one of these canoes. So that's definitely going to go into the display case. And it's just a matter of trying to figure out, like, what I'm trying to do is figure out, A, obviously there's going to be anything that's going to go in there is going to be like limited edition stuff I can't get anymore. B, a lot of the stuff that's going to go in there also is going to be stuff that's got some sentimental value. Like the Zombie Nicks. I mean, they're not pricey knives. I think at max, I've seen them go for like one of the knives go for like $30, and that's simply because they're getting harder and harder to find. Things like this one, this Baron Sons, was actually a gift, and I will not ever sell anything that was given to me as a gift. So knives like that are going to go in the case. And what I'm beginning to wonder is whether I'm going to have enough room in that case to put everything that I want to in there. I'm pretty sure I should be okay. I've got a few coins that are going to go in there as well. Like I said, a lot of the Corallons, like this Hen and Rooster actually is a Corallon. Because Michael Prater did Corallons for Hen and Rooster, Case, Frost Cutlery, I believe. And again, these are all when Michael Prater does a series, they're all limited, and none of them are ever going to look exactly the same. I just thought this one was pretty. I'm not even that into pink. And this one is a Hen and Rooster, and yeah, signed by Michael Prater on the blade. He's the one that does this stuff. And I find it really cool because Corallon, you don't have any of the pins in there, because I think the way that they do this, I think especially when you see them from Case, all of the Case Corallons are normally listed as this: skeleton pre-hafted trapper. So I'm thinking what happens is he gets all these Case skeletons and then creates the scales for them. And I don't necessarily know how they're attached, like adhesive, or they're melted on, poured in. I don't know how it works, but it makes for a really clean-sided looking knife without those pins. And again, no 2 are going to look exactly alike. But yeah, that's the Hen and Rooster version. And if you see a Corallon, I believe they're all made by Michael Prater. I don't believe anybody else does Corallon for any of these knife manufacturers. So those will probably make it in there. This is definitely making it in there. The Vintage Hunter. And thankfully that case is friggin' huge. Where's my coffee? I'm gonna need this to keep awake. I have been up early all week working. It's been kind of driving me a little on the insane side. So let me know what you guys want to see. I'm just having fun going through my stuff. And I don't know, Josh, if you have any oil or you're trying it now, let me know how that goes. Let me know how that goes for you. It looks like it did pretty well with the one that I had. It didn't darken it up a whole lot. It might even things out a little bit. Let's see here. I know some people have been curious about my collection, so we'll go over that. I'm going through all of it anyway. Again, most of my collection started off, I was collecting modern knives, and most of my early knives, I can make room. Good God, this table is not big enough. I have most of my knives are stored in cases like this. I have a link to these cases below. They're made by Casematics. This one is a smaller one. This one, I believe, holds the 40. I can't count. Hold on a second. I gotta turn it around because it opens this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This holds 40. Yeah, 40. 40 knives. Up to about 5 inches when they're closed. So as long as they're not longer than 5 inches closed, they'll fit in this perfectly fine. They're padded, both at the bottom, both at the top. There is a gasket around the edge, so they are supposed to be waterproof. And you've got like metal reinforced places for padlocks on each side. I sound like a salesman. I'm not trying to sell anything. This is just what I use. There's a lot of cases out there. These tend to run, I thought they were run like 50, 60 bucks for this particular size. I know they have a larger size. I have one of the larger sizes that I think they run closer to 70 and thereabouts. This one in particular holds the majority of my Concept, Remet, Best Tech, and some other odds and ends. Like I have some case knives in here that are going to be moved over to the display case. Like this is where I have a lot of my case squirrels, like this one here. This is the one that Chasing Blaze distributor found for me. The Squirrel Hunter. All the squirrels are going to make it into that display case. I know that for a fact. That and the zombies are definitely going to make it in there. So anything squirrel related is going to go into that display case. There's that one. And yes, I swaddle them, okay? I don't want to hear about it. I'm weird like that. Everybody takes care of their knives in different ways. I swaddle these, even though, I don't know, I'm weird. There's that Sodbuster Jr. I kind of want to get a second one just so I can use it, because I just think they're really nice. And then I have the matching trapper to this, also in the yellow synthetic. But these are all going to go in the display. There we go. Yeah, the trapper version with a squirrel. I didn't really start even, like, it wasn't until somebody mentioned that wildlife series case that put these suckers on my radar, and then after that, I just had to collect every squirrel-related freaking knife you can find. So yeah, these are all going to go in there. That French squirrel knife is going to go in there. I've got that Soviet USSR knife that's going to go in there. I've got this one is going to go in there. This is a more modern. This is a Remet Squirrel. There's no squirrel on it. It's just Remet Squirrel by name. So that's going to go in there. This one's a slip joint with M390, I believe. I believe it's M390 steel. Doesn't say on that. Titanium, like oil slick scale on this one. But this is going to go in there. This thing fingerprints like all get out. It looks cool. And then I had those 2 vintage ones. Or not, well, that 1 vintage one. This is that French one, a French traditional Duck, if I'm even pronouncing that right, squirrel. And then this is the Russian USSR one that I actually had to do a lot of cleaning and fixing. And now, oh god, still a little tough on the open, but at least I don't need pliers to open this thing anymore. Because I did need to use, in fact, before, just in case, I'm going to add a little bit more pivot oil to this. But I had to work on this sucker. This required quite a bit of fiddling around. Because this thing did not want to open. Then bending the blade back into position, cleaning, oiling, and then finally sharpening. And this is also a carbon steel, I believe. So it has been a little while. I do pull this out every once in a while. I don't know about how anybody else is. I like to admire my knives when I've got downtime, when I've got nothing to do. Not that I have a lot of time for that, but just a relaxation. I'll spend time to maintain, and that gives me the ability to just go over it and just enjoy my collection for a while. And then trying to keep these in as good condition as possible, because I know that these will eventually make their way to friends and family at some point. So I do want to make sure that they last up until then. But yeah, this is the USSR squirrel knife. Not terribly expensive, but they're getting a little bit more expensive. I think as the months have gone, as the years have gone, I still think you can get them for like around roughly under $50. This one I got super cheap only because this one admittedly was a mess. Could barely open it. And whoever sharpened this on a sidewalk or something. I don't know what they were doing. And once he had it open, had a hard time closing the damn thing. But I was ecstatic to be able to get this thing back into actual working condition. And it's still got a hell of a snap. It's a scary snap. And it came with a sheath, which I haven't seen a lot of these come with, which I thought was really cool. Okay, so that's that. So yeah, this is my essentially Remet concept, whatever case. And, we'll spend some time going over this stuff. I've got nothing else going on. I just wanted to keep doing the live because I like chatting with you guys. I don't know what I'm going to do with this guy. Where are you going? So giving you an idea, these are all my Remets, all my concepts. This one was a Blade City. What's the word I'm looking for? Collaboration. I can't remember how many of these were made, but these were seriously limited. I'd like to say like 100 or something of these were made. And it's essentially not a rhino. What were these called? Wow, my brain is slipping. Oh, wild species. These were wild species. Okay, had to remember. Except this was a collaboration limited edition with you can see the Blade City logo. Copper foil. I believe this is copper foil G10. Wow, my brain's leaving me. Either way, another one of those that now are, again, hard to get unless you go on Blade Binge. This is what they normally come looking like. If you get one of their budget versions, this is a budget version of the wild species. Freaking awesome knives. Ramet and Concept have some really awesome stuff. This is a Rhino, which is their button lock, and it's kind of like a button top liner lock. One thing that Ramet's been doing with a lot of their knives is you have knives that have multiple methods of deployment. Like you got the thumb studs here. You even have a bit of a fuller, although I don't think I can really use the fuller too well on this. It's more of a little indent. And then front flipper, which I'm not great at using on this one. But not only do they have the button lock, but they made it so you can still use your thumb and unlock it from the liner, which I thought was really interesting. Usually if you have a button lock, that's it. That's how you're going to close the blade, is through that button lock. I very rarely see anything except from Ramet where you have the button lock, but you can still use the liner to close the blade. I don't know why you would do that, aside from like habit, because I know a lot of times I'll open a knife and the first thing I want to do as soon as I want to close the blade is my thumb will run around here, just because I'm so used to so many knives with liner locks and frame locks that my thumb immediately looks for a way to unlock it here before I remember, oh, it's a crossbar lock or it's, you know, it's something else. So it's really neat that Ramet still allows me to close the blade that way. And there's a few that are like that. This one is I can't remember what this one's called. It has the toothpick, a titanium, or they call it a fruit pick. Someone remind me what this is called. I'm at the point where I can't even remember what some of my knives are called. I just thought it was neat because it has a really nice blade. I like that profile. And then the toothpick thing, or the titanium, I probably wouldn't use it on my teeth because it'd probably destroy my teeth. But the titanium fruit pick, I thought was really cool. This is another one of their budget series. I want to say Cool Whale, but I don't think that's what it was called. So I'm pretty sure this is a Cool Whale. Yeah, this is a Cool Whale. Another Ramet liner lock, just standard liner lock, carbon fiber with a drop point, or is that a clip point? Modified drop point, I don't know. Blade, which is really neat. And some of their more expensive stuff. This is their RT Meteor, also with like a top liner lock type locking mechanism, and again, still able to use my thumb to close it if for whatever reason I just forget there's a button there. Really awesome knife. Feels really good in the hand. And I've really been falling in love with this copper. I believe it's a copper carbon fiber. Yeah, copper carbon fiber. I can't say that all too often. And I think that's what this was as well. Copper carbon. Why is that so hard for me to say? Copper carbon fiber. Good grief. Really loving that look. This look, the copper carbon fiber, is probably one of my biggest weak points when it comes to knives. Because then they tend to be on the more pricey versions of knives, and then it makes my wallet cry. Because I know if I see a knife, that's the version I'm going to want to try to get. There's still a lot of knives out there that have that type of scale on there. This is the RT Saker Falcon, which I thought was really cool. I don't have too many knives that are Tonto blades. Because again, I'm lazy. I don't like sharpening them. But still really neat because this is one of those that has a button on the pivot. And again, still has, like, this is a frame lock. And you can see the button move the frame lock out of the way. So I can still use the button to close it. Or I can just use the frame lock out of sheer habit. Really fidgety knife. This is one of my contenders for probably favorite knife of the year. I have a couple contenders for what are my favorite knives that I've gotten for this year, and this is one of them. Probably one of the pricier knives I own. Not regrettably, but this one was hard to get. This one is called the Two-Face, made by Remet, has the titanium scales on there. And the reason why they call it the Two-Face, I believe it's two reasons. One of the reasons is I have it set to be a front flipper because I love front flipper knives. But you can remove this piece. And I think originally it came as a rear flipper. So you can see a little hole there with a set screw. And then there's the screw for this, that flipper. You can take this little piece and move it back into the rear and make this a rear flipper knife. I took it off and made it a front flipper. It's one of the reasons I believe they call it a Two-Face. The other reason is because of this grind that they have going. I believe it's a hollow grind, or is it a flat grind? I can't remember which. I think it's a hollow grind. I would think it's a hollow grind. Yeah, hollow grind towards the choil, and then a flat grind as it nears the tip. And you can see a clear division there. But this is probably one of my favorite knives, admittedly, this year. This is a contender for it. The only problem is this is pricey. Can't remember the cost, but it was up there. And it's just one of my favorite knives because I love the way it feels. I love the way it deploys. It feels amazing, nice and smooth. And it's one of the few knives that I can use the fuller on to reverse flick without really any issue whatsoever, which I just think is freaking neat. And I love the look, especially with this, I don't know what, this stonewashed titanium that they did on this one. M390 steel on this is absolutely beautiful. I'm again possible contender for top knife this year. I've got a couple others. This one's another favorite. This one was the Remet Woodpecker, and it comes in a neat. I think they call it blurple, or at least I call it blurple, because it's a crystalline titanium, and so you've got a lot of blue, a lot of purple dancing around in there. And one of the cool things about this is you can see there's no screws, no pivot. It's all hidden on this thing, which makes this really super clean looking. Another one of my favorites from Remet. And the way if you want to take the knife apart, the way you take this one apart, we're going to close this real quick. The way you take this knife apart, since you don't see any screws or anything, is there's this little bit back here with some jimping on it. But if you press this inward, then lift up, you hear that click, now the scale comes off. And now you have access to all your screws. You got access to the pivot. You can unscrew all this. By removing these screws, you can pretty much lift out the guts of this knife. And you'd have to do this if you wanted to. I don't know if you can change no, you can't. Can you change it on this? I don't believe you can. No, you can't change the pocket clip on this one. But yeah, all your access to everything is done just by removing this scale. And then this, you can see some keys here. You just match up the keys and snap it back into place, and it's solid. It's a solid lockup. Like, I'm not feeling that plate move. That scale is no play in the scale whatsoever. It's locked right into place. I just wish they did. One thing I wish with Remet is I wish they did their front flippers a little better. I wish they did it more like they did on the Two-Face. Because one thing with their front flippers is they tend to put it way, like a good distance away from the pivot. And in some cases, that makes their front flippers a little awkward to use. Because I really love front flippers. I just find them fun. I know a lot of people hate them, but I like them. And some of the remettes that they have, like these, for example, they're so far out there, they can be really awkward to use. They're really good on the Two-Face. It's really good on the Woodpecker. But something like, say, this Rhino, it's really awkward. I mean, it could be done, but I'd rather just, in this case, I'd rather just use the thumb studs. Then we had that's the Cool Whale. This is where the concept knives begin. This one's a mini cryo. This one's done in a lightning titanium, which I thought was really neat, with Damascus steel for the blade. And the interesting thing with the Damascus that Concept uses is their Damascus, it's a raindrop pattern, and they use two types of stainless steel for their Damascus, as opposed to a mix of stainless steel and carbon steel. So Concept's Damascus, the corrosion resistance is really good on that. You don't have to worry about it so much as a lot of other Damascus steels that have high carbon in the mix. That, and it's really pretty. The only downside to this one is that the scales on this one are a bit on the slick side. So they can't, especially if your hands get wet, this one feels like it could get pretty slippery. Then we got more Concept, probably my favorite Concepts. And the funny thing is, these are on the budget side. These are mini accipiters, and I've got two of them. Just front flipper only, which is, again, fine by me because I really like front flippers. This one just happens to be a green micarta. The other one I have is in a green aluminum. That's how much I like them. If I really, really like a knife, if I can afford to, I end up usually snagging more than one. This one's a green aluminum. Really solid knives and a good size, especially for where I live. And this one's probably one of my most interesting ones. This one's from Concept. This is, oh, what do they call this? The Ballylock. And the way this one works, it's called that. Oh, it's called the Hazard, and it has what's called a Ballylock. Concept Hazard. You see this bar in the back? To open this one, you have to lever out the bar. And once it's open a certain amount, that frees up the blade. And to lock it back up, you have to do the same thing. But I've seen a lot of people start doing tricks with these, like, like butterfly knives or balisongs. I'm not that nimble with it. I'm just going to open it up rather. I don't know. I guess you can call this normally. But just a really cool lock, a really solid lock too. It's just, I have another thing for interesting locking knives. And this was one of them. Much bigger than what I could normally carry. But I wasn't going to let that stop me from at least owning one. Unfortunately, I just can't really carry it around. I mean, I could. It's not like I'm going out doing weird shit. But obviously, if I had to get stopped for any reason, and, if they needed to do a pocket check for whatever reason, they're seeing this in there, it might have a few questions, and I just don't feel like I want the trouble. So this one generally does stay at home. This is more of a conversation piece, oddball collectible for me. But really, really cool knife from Concept. This is another contender for one of my favorites this year. And this one was called the Nawal. If I remember correctly, Concept Nawal. And the reason why I like this one so much is, I love the blade shape. I love the carbon fiber flake, and it's a crossbar lock, which makes it nice and solid. And this is a thick blade. It looks like a sheep's foot mated with a harpoon. Real thick blade. a real thick Magna Cut steel blade. And that's one of the reasons why I love this one. Magna Cut's probably my favorite pocket knife steel. And this is like a chunky, just block of Magna Cut, which I freaking love. And it's got weight to it. Like when you open this up quick, you can feel it kick back. When you close it, you can feel it hit the palm of your hand. That's how heavy and how big the stock is on this one. And I absolutely love it for that. And especially the fact that it's made out of Magna Cut. I wasn't going to go out without grabbing one of these. And I'm at the point where I kind of really want another one. But these, being a Magna Cut steel blade, these get pretty pricey. You like the stubby blade. I love this blade shape. It's just the sheep's foot, the Warncliffe thing. I just love the blade shape. And it's just a really nice feel on this one. But yeah, probably another one of the contenders for my favorite blade this year. I've been trying to think about like a video for like, and not just what I got this year, but what was released this last year and what I've got, what I've also obtained this last year. And this is one of them. Is the Nawal. This one is a mini Main Street. I think I won this one. Well, I didn't buy it. Yeah, I think I won this off of Whatnot. Kind of neat. Really small. So it's a little hard to... like, I can't really flick this out aside from using the crossbar lock. But neat little knife. Especially since I won that one. I believe I didn't pay for that one. This one is another favorite, Concept Tarocco. This one's been out for a while. This one's another front flipper only. Just a really cool titanium tiger stripe, where I believe they kind of like burn in the tiger stripes on these scales. Front flipper only, which is again fine by me. I believe this is S35VN. Yeah, S35VN Tarocco. Another one of my favorites. Okay, yeah, a lot of these are going to be favorites. And I've explained this before. The reason why I'm like this, and somebody's asked me like why a lot of my videos are very positive. Like I don't have too many negative videos. I have a couple, I think, but I'm buying all this with my own money. I mean, other than sometimes winning a knife on a giveaway or something, all this stuff I'm paying for. And it's not like people are gifting me knives or anything like that. Heck, I don't even have enough like followers yet on this channel to even make ad revenue from this channel. So again, I'm paying for everything. So if I'm going to be paying for all these, like if I'm buying a knife, I'm going to make sure it's going to be something that I'm really going to want. So I do a good deal of research on a lot of these knives. And I very rarely buy something without learning a little bit about the knife itself, to make sure it's something that I'm really... Oh, I dropped my mic. To make sure it's something that I'm really, really going to want. Because nothing would like bother me more than if I were to like spend like $100 or even $50 for that matter, anywhere from 50 on up, for a knife that I get in and just absolutely hate or even dislike. Because then I'm having to go through the deal of like returning something or, you know, all that stuff. And it's a pain in the butt. I don't want to do that. So yeah, anytime I'm buying a knife, I'm going to make sure I want something that I can keep. I need a display just for the lady legs. I have all my lady leg, or the majority of my lady legs, in a special like roll, but I don't have them all in their one section yet. That's another thing that I got to get. I had a thing for lady leg knives. I've collected like nearly every Rough Rider lady leg that's in production. I'll go over those probably a little later at some point, maybe not today, but at some point. One of my favorite concepts is this Tarocco. I just love the size. The front flipper is so easy to use. Good material. Premium material. Just awesome knife. This one is the Convict. This is one of the more recent ones that I've got. It's a little on the bigger side, but holy crap, is this thing quick? And pretty standard. I mean, you got your sheep's foot, you got titanium, which is in an interesting like bluish green color, frame lock. Pretty big knife, or at least in regards to compared to like what I normally get, but this thing snaps out so fast, it's crazy. I do have some issues with this one. Kind of minor, but like I'm kind of surprised there's no jimping on the blade. So it's not the biggest thing in the world, but it would have been nice to have some jimping on there. Otherwise, it's pretty slick. And the thumb studs on this thing, they smoothed them out. They rounded them up really well, almost too well. Where if I don't think about it, and I just try to flick the blade out like a lot of my other thumb stud blades, my thumb will just run over it because it's very smooth at the top. And I have to remember that I've got to place my thumb kind of down below, and I'm kind of just pushing the thumb stud out of the way. But once it does kick, fast as hell, and a really solid lockup. And again, I just love this type of blade. So pretty neat. I did a full video on this not too long ago, actually just a few days ago. This one is a Model 6. Pretty standard, I guess, in the way of like budget blades from Concept. Ground micarta, rear flipper, thumb stud, or thumb hole, and just really easy to use. And they do make a premium version of these. I just wanted to check out their budget version. I believe this was under $50 or roundabouts of $50. I can't quite remember. So much cheaper than what you'd normally find like their premiums to be. And they make really good budget knives. I mean, just like these accipiters. And these are inexpensive in comparison to a lot of their premium offerings. And then this is the one, Tenable, that I have. Tenable is a manufacturer that it's basically Concept's budget sister company. So if you're looking for a really affordable version of a Concept knife, now Concept does have their budgets, like I said, like I showed before, but if you're looking for other versions of their more premium knives, you're generally going to find it in Tenable. This is their Tenable's Fenrir, and the Concept Fenrir generally is going to be, I think, around like $150 to $200. This one, I believe, was closer to around $70. Now, don't quote me on a lot of these prices. I'm trying to remember, but I believe it was around $50 to $70. But otherwise, it's essentially the same Fenrir from Concept, except with more budget-minded materials. Like this, instead of like M390 or S35VN, this one's using Nitro V steel, which is still a great, fantastic steel for budget knives. This one is done in a green micarta, dual thumb studs, crossbar lock, and if you really liked the look of a Fenrir but didn't have the money to be dropping on one of Concept's more expensive knives, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to check this one out, because I haven't had a Tenable before. I really wanted one of their Fenrirs, and I thought that'd be a great chance to check out both Tenable and get myself a Fenrir at the same time at a really good price. Really cool harpoon blade. Really solid crossbar lock. I love the harpoon on this one because when you get it in hand, your thumb just naturally rests up against this and just feels really good and really solid. That's that one. And then we've got my Best Hex. A lot of people that are in chasing blades or have been to one of their shows have seen these before. This is the wondering if this is part of the reason why they keep getting best techs in. These are numbered, and while I believe it's still possible to maybe get some of these, it's going to be really hard to get this particular color. This one is in this case, this one's a first production number 38 out of 100 for this colorway. I don't know if they're still manufacturing this model though. I know for a fact they're not manufacturing this colorway in this model, but I don't know if they're still manufacturing this model. I don't believe they are anymore. So these might be harder to get. This one is also numbered. This one is a 14 out of 50 for this particular color. And this one, I can't remember the name of. It's a best tech. The hell was this? I never opened my spreadsheet. I should have opened that a while ago. But I never opened it up because I didn't think I was going to be referring to it. Maybe I should. I wish I could remember what this one was called. Best tech, where is it? I know I didn't get it that long ago. But yeah, Chasing Blades started picking these up. After I got that first one, they got this one. They had a few more best techs. I just haven't had a chance to pick them up because these tend to be pricey. Especially since they're numbered and you can't get them anymore, especially in this color. And I think he's still got a few. I don't know if they're numbered, but they're not this model. But I'm pretty sure he's got a couple more best techs. I don't recall if they're numbered. He had an interesting story with one of the best techs called the Nuke that I think he was trying to get me to buy. But that sucker was expensive. And I think he took it to a show just recently. He took the Nuke to a show, and they had a table set up and all this stuff. And I guess some guy was taking a look at the Nuke and was telling his wife that was with him, like, "Oh no, because Chasing Blades warned him, like, careful, that knife is sharp as all get out." So Chasing Blades warned him, knife was sharper than hell. And the guy was like, "Oh, he knew what he was doing. He's been around knives all the time. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's an expert in this." And I guess he was showing his wife the knife, and he was like, "Look, watch this." And he ended up like cutting himself like 3 times with this thing. He had it not with this one, with the knife that Chasing Blades had. This is called the Dolphin. That's what this was called. But the guy ended up cutting himself like 3 times with that knife. I think he might have accidentally stabbed his palm once too. So Chasing Blades is like, yeah, well, you got your DNA on it, so you bought it. So even if I did save the money up for it, I lost out because somebody kept cutting himself with it. But I thought that was funny. I've already cut myself a couple times, even just during this not this live, but other lives. This one is one of their more budget-minded stuff. This is also a best tech. I wish I remembered what this one was called. I'm forgetting all my knife names now. I've got so many knives I can't remember half my crap. This one, I know it's D2 steel. And I'm having to look through my spreadsheet again. Try to remember what half these were. This was relatively recent, I think. Komodo, that's what this is. But this is one of their budget ones. This one I think was like around 50. $65, I think, is the retail price on this. Yeah, $65. And so Best Tech, you can still get some pretty good budget-minded stuff from them. And they've got some amazing blades. I think a lot of people Chasing Blades will show off the Best Tech knives. And they don't get snapped up all that quickly, all that often. but he shows them off, and I don't think people realize how good these best techs are, because they are, first of all, they're super smooth. And every best tech that I've had the pleasure of playing around with, because I've seen them in other places as well. I've had my hands on other models, but they've all been super smooth in blade movement, amazing lockup, nice and comfortable in the hand, and they're just really good blades. I feel like every time he shows one, a lot of people are sleeping on them. And I know, especially with at least these, because these are numbered, they're rare, they're hard to get. They tend to be a lot pricier. And by the way, chasing blades doesn't run up the cost on these. Like, I've seen knives like this go for a lot more than what, like, chasing blades, when they come across a knife that's rare or hard to get, it doesn't affect their pricing. They'll still put it out. They'll still sell it for what they normally would have sold it for if, they're widely available and easy to get. So rarity really doesn't affect their pricing at all. And I mean, admittedly, these numbered ones do tend to be a lot pricier than your standard. Even just retail wise, they're a lot on the they're a lot on the pricier side. But they do have a lot of budget offerings that are just really, really well done. And if you're looking for a good modern, and at least in this case, like, if size isn't a big deal for you, because like something like this, obviously it's going to be a little harder for me to carry around in my state because of the blade length. But if you're living in a place where blade length isn't an issue, a lot of people are sleeping on these. These are amazing, amazing knives. And I wouldn't have nabbed so many of them if I didn't really believe that. And if you're still looking for something a lot more budget than that, like that one was like about, like I said, $60. Their Best Tech Man or Best Techman is their budget line, and even their budget line, the Best Techmans, like this Cicada's wing, a lot less expensive, but still really good knives. And this is light as hell. G10 scales. This one is what, 10 CR 15 MOV, and don't let that scare. 10 CR 15 MOV is actually a really good steel. I think they see the numbers, like the 10 CR 15 MOV, and they've seen like people have seen knives that are really, really cheap, like gas station knives, like $10, $15 knives that have numbers like 8 CR 13 or something like that. And yeah, that's a really lower end budget steel. But once you get to like 9 CR 15 or 10 CR 15, it's a really decent steel for a budget blade that I think a lot of people, I think there's too much association with like the lower end budget steels just because the numbers sound similar. But they are really good steels for budget knives. And these Best Techmans are really smooth and nice. And I have 2 Cicada wings because of A, they look fantastic. B, they're lighter than hell. They're really quick to deploy, solid crossbar lock. And they are, I don't want to say cheap because they're not cheap, they're inexpensive. And some of the most popular knives I've seen on Whatnot are these Cicada wings. A lot of people like asking for these in a lot of other shows. And then I have, this one's interesting. This is one of the few Best Techs I didn't get from Chasing Blades. Sorry, Chasing Blades. This one's a Lanza. This is more of like an executive knife because of how thin this is. It looks kind of like, this is something that you'd put in a shirt pocket, and it would look almost just like a small pen in a shirt pocket. And just really neat. Front flipper only. But the front flipper works really well. Liner lock. It's out nice and quick. Thin, slicey blade. What's this one made out of? 14C28N steel. Awesome steel. But really cool because it'll fit right in a shirt pocket, look just like a pen. Nobody would really give it a second glance. And it's a really neat blade. But also best recommend. This is the one that bit me during one of my lives. Son of a bitch. Opened it up really quick, wasn't paying attention to where my hand was, and as I open it up, the sucker cut through my knuckle. This thing was sharp on the blunt side, for crying out loud. On the spine of the blade, this thing cut me. It actually just caught me right at the tip. But cool Damascus, like a Sandmine Damascus from Best Techman called the Ronin. I love this one, not just because of the Damascus, but the rosewood scales on this one are absolutely gorgeous. Something about wood. Really nicely well done wood scales on a knife. Look absolutely beautiful. Yeah, a lot of my collection consists of moderns. Obviously, you've seen a lot of traditionals here. I haven't done a lot of videos on traditionals. This one's this one I got from Monthly Knife Club. Best Tech, I can't remember the name of this one. But it was one of the earlier ones I got from Monthly Knife Club. Just an interesting blade shape, really small, compact. It's a really neat blade. But I was saying, I haven't done a lot of videos on traditional knives. And one of the things I'm looking into doing is doing like some of my favorite patterns and just showing off like trappers. So, because I know there's a lot of people that do a lot of or collect a lot of modern knives, but most of the people that I know personally collect a lot of modern knives, but haven't really dove into traditional stuff. And I've been getting a lot of questions on those from them. So I was thinking of doing some videos focusing on different patterns, like how they come in, like trappers, mini trappers, stuff like that, or mini docks or copper locks, so they get a better understanding on what's out there. So you might see more traditional knife videos from me in the future. It's just a matter of how I want to format it, because I'm not sure exactly how I wanted to do that. Because there's so many traditional knives. You go over one trapper, you've pretty much seen, you know how they work. They're all pretty much going to be the same. The only differences are going to be scales, like materials and stuff like that. It's almost kind of like you've seen them all, aside from the colors. So I might still do one just to more explain maybe the history of, like, say, for example, trappers, what they were initially made for, and offer up examples and stuff like that for those that don't know too much about trappers. I mean, I'm still learning a lot about traditional knives. I'm no expert at all when it comes to a lot of knives. I'm a collector. I enjoy collecting knives. I enjoy talking about them, but I'm still learning about stuff, both modern knives and traditional knives, like every day. Still learning, always going to be learning. But I like sharing what I know with people that, if they have questions, and I like talking about them because that's how I learn. This is going to be another one of those knives that to me is a contender for my favorite knife of the year. Now, this was a pricey version. This is called the Kettlewell Mini Griffin. And this one is a collaboration, I believe, also from Blade City, where they only made 50 of this particular color. You can still get these in different colors. It's just this gold tin, or TIN. I don't remember the exact name of the coating, but the coating, DLC gray with a carbon fiber. This one you're only going to see from the Blade City collaboration. And I believe they only made 50 of these. But you can still get them in other colorways. So it's not like you can't get another Mini Griffin. You just might not be able to get one of this particular color without now, at this point, probably paying an arm and a leg for. But I love this knife so much because it's just super smooth, very fidgety, feels surprisingly good in the hand. I mean, it looks very angular, but it's like super comfortable. You found an affordable flamethrower? You gotta send me a link to that. This thing is so comfortable, even though it looks so angular. The only problem is like I said, first of all, this one was pricey. This was like over $200. Not to mention the fact that they only made 50 of these. So carrying this around made me a little nervous because I really wouldn't be able to. I mean, sure, I could get another Mini Griffin, but I wouldn't be able to replace this particular colorway without spending way too much money. But one thing that Keto did this year that surprised the heck out of me, and I'm so glad they did it. I did a video of this one just recently, just a few days ago, is they made a budget version of that same knife, except they used more budget-minded materials like G10 instead of titanium. And in the blades case, they're using 14C28N with not a DLC coating, probably a PVD coating. But so a much more affordable, whereas this one was like around $200 for the collaboration one. This one was like, I think $70, $80 in comparison. But same size, same feel, super comfortable, still really good steel for the blade. The G10 is nice and grippy. It feels absolutely identical to the premium version. Obviously, it might not have the same steel. Obviously, it's not titanium scales, but it feels exactly the same. And for less than half the price, that this one is very, very much a contender for probably favorite knife that I've gotten this year. And you've got like the thumb holes for deployment. Like I've been reverse flicking the heck out of this thing. Nice and snappy. You've got a rear flipper. And you've got a front flipper. And they all work exceptionally well. And then you've got a top liner-like button lock. So there's a liner there. Nice secure lockup. Actuated by a button. And it, again, super smooth. You can even use the button to release the blade. So many ways to deploy this. It's got a really nice tink to it. I'm sorry, it sounds really good. So many ways to deploy this knife. I'm being a little lazy with opening it up. So many ways to deploy this knife. It feels really good in the hand. Just a really nice blade. I can't believe that they went ahead and did a budget version of it because I'm in love with this thing. And it looks like a Star Wars Stormtrooper knife. You sent me the link? I'm going to check that out because you know what? I don't think flamethrowers are like federally regulated. So I'm pretty sure anybody can pretty much own one. And now I want one. But yeah, love this knife. I want to get more of these. That's how much I love this one. These are crazy, insane good. If you haven't checked out Keto and you're looking for a nice modern knife, do yourself a favor. Take a look at one of these. Check out my other video on this, on either one of these, because the thing is, like I said, other than the fact that this one has premium materials and is harder to get, they're virtually identical. Oh, one major plus about the budget version that I mentioned in the video, one major plus about this is if you look, they're almost identical, like I said, except at the pivot and this weird screw thing here at the bottom. It's got some weird shape. I don't know what you use to adjust this or remove it. Because it's not your typical, like, flathead. It's got rounded edges to it. I have no idea how you would adjust or remove that. But one cool thing they did with the budget version is they're all on the pivot, the body screws, even the pocket clip. They're all T8 screws. All you need is one tool, one T8, and all these screws, even the pocket clip, which is insane, because usually the pocket clip uses smaller. They're all the same size screw, which is fan-friggin-tastic if you ever need to take one of these apart. You don't need more than one tool to do it. You need to do any adjustments or anything like that, which I thought was probably the icing on the cake for this one. This is how it should be done. In my opinion, this is how it should be. Yeah, weirdly, it screams like something cyber. I mean, like I said, it looks ultra modern. And you'd think with all the angles on it, it wouldn't be a very comfortable knife to hold, but it feels really good in the hand. Like it's super comfortable. Super ergonomic. Even the pocket clip doesn't dig in anywhere. Like, this is crazy good. Another reason why I keep saying that this is a very good contender. Even compared to like I said, I love this knife, the Two Face. I love that other, the Noal from Concept. I love these knives, but this for like 70, 80 bucks is just crazy friggin' good. Now, if you really want premium materials, they have the regular Mini Griffin. Still have them available. Maybe not this color, but they still have others like, you know, DLC coatings, all the fancy shit. You know, the top blade materials, titanium scales for obviously closer to $200. But they really blew me away with this, with their budget version. Like, it's insanely good. I know I keep gushing on it. I see, okay, hold on. I see your Discord. Let me take a look. Oh, I think I've seen that. A grill torch gun. Yes. I think I've seen that one. It's pretty much a propane torch. I don't know how far that thing went. But you'll have to share that in the knife Discord. Feel free. What else do I have in this case? This case admittedly is probably like some of my top favorite knives are all in this case, which is why there's still a mix of stuff in here. This one's made by QSP. I have all my other QSPs in a different case. This one's special because it's just absolutely beautiful. Abalone scales, mirror polished. I believe this is a 14C28N steel blade done in a mirror polish. Yeah, 14C28N steel. Razor sharp. This is another one that cut me. I almost said gut me. And the funny thing is, this is what happens when you don't pay attention. I was cleaning the blade. I was running my, I had a cloth in my hand and I was running my fingers over the blade, polishing it up a little bit. I went from choil to tip and went and didn't realize I had the meat of my thumb a little too far down. And it cut through like 2 layers of cloth and bit down into the flesh of my finger before I, by the time I got to the end of the blade. And it didn't even hurt, but you felt it. You just felt it. And yeah, this thing, sharp as all get out. Doesn't have a pocket clip, but that's why, where'd it go? That's what this was for. This one's if you can order a leather pouch for this slipcase that does have a pocket clip. And that's what this guy's for. And the way I would put it, or at least the way I'd carry this, and I've carried this before, is I'll slip it in this way, and this will actually go into my pocket, and then only the clip shows out. So majority of this is in my pocket. I don't carry it like on the belt and have this outside my waist. I carry it in my pocket, and this clips over the pocket. That's how I carry it anyway. But they make this slip specifically for this knife. That's why I have this in there, because there is no pocket clip to this guy. You got a nice generous hole for a lanyard if you wanted to put one on there. I haven't done so yet, but awesome blade. Also, just one of my favorite knives overall, and I've mentioned this one before. One of my favorite knives overall, pretty much all time. Now, these weren't released recently. These have been out for a little while. The Kershaw Bel Airs. Mainly because They come in Magna Cut. They're super smooth. Awesome feeling handles, titanium scales, and they weren't terribly expensive, maybe about 140 to 160 you're going to find these at. I got mine on sale. Super thin, super slicey Magna Cut, and just an overall awesome knife from Kershaw. I mean, good enough. I got an aluminum sided one, or another aluminum, except this one's blue with an uncoated blade. Solid crossbar lock, and just super quick to deploy. I love, love, love these knives. Only reason why I'm not saying these are my favorite for this year are because I've had these knives for a bit, and these weren't exactly released this year. These have been out for, I think, a couple of years now. So they're not exactly new, but still freaking amazing knives. I know Chasing Blades has turned me on to these. I do want to get a second one. This is their Cobra Tech. I want to do a lot more with Cobra Tech. In fact, I might be doing a lot more with Cobra Tech. This is their hidden release trapper. This is an automatic. And the way this one works is the release mechanism is this bolster right here. You can see it shifts. That's what releases the blade. And you can then just move it to the side, and then you can close it. Because once it opens up, it locks up like that. But you just move the bolster to the side, and then it's out. And it's also locked in place. Freaking love this knife. I got this one from Chasing Blades. Chasing Blades has a new website out, by the way. I think they're still running their old one called Unwavering Endeavors, but now they have a new website that's more in line with their name called chasingblades.com. And they have these knives there that you can order because you can't sell these on Whatnot, but they have these knives at their website. They also have various versions of this knife on their website. Like I think there's one in Stag. They've got some in just different types of scales or scale material. Even some that are in different types of blade steels. Like this one, I believe. What was this one? This was 154 CM steel, which is their more expensive one. And I think this one ran around like 120, 130, somewhere abouts. You can get knives with different scales and different blade steels like D2 that run a little cheaper. So if you don't want to spend the 120, 130 for one of these, you can go with one of their D2 steel blades. Still a great steel, but work just the same. And I think those run closer to around $80. So you can save yourself a good amount of cash if you want to go with one of the lesser expensive options. But awesome knife. I freaking love this thing because it's just really slick. It doesn't really give you the vibes of an automatic knife, which is why they call it like their hidden release trapper. It looks like your typical traditional knife until you realize there's no nail nick and it comes with a pocket clip. So really, really cool knife. Definitely want to get another one of these. Again, I'm trying to save for some Spydercos because I don't own a Spyderco. And when they hold their show on the 15th, I really want to get my first Spyderco. I just haven't decided yet on which one I want to get. Because there's a few versions that I'm really looking into. I've been told by quite a lot of people that again I don't have any Spydercos, but the ones I'm taking a look at right now are the Para 3, mainly because of blade size. Because I'm trying to look for something that I can carry regularly and not have any issue. But the Spyderco Para 3 is one that I'm looking at. The Spyderco Sage 5 is another one that I'm looking at. And then the Mannix is another one. The only problem with the Mannix is I think the Mannix is a much larger knife than the Para 3 and the Sage 5. it just has a really neat locking mechanism on it. Actually, they all do, which is why I'm really curious about them. And I know a lot of people that have Spyderco knives apparently are completely in love with them. I never. I just thought they looked kind of weird. Excuse me. I just thought they looked kind of weird. I know a lot of people feel that way, but I'm at the point where I'm curious enough that I kind of really want to get one, and I want a decent one to be my first Spyderco. So again, I'm looking at the Para 3, looking at the Sage 5, and looking at the Manix as possibilities. I'm leaning towards the Sage 5 and Para 3 though, because they're better in line with the size that I can carry daily without having any issue. So if anybody has their own suggestions on a Spyderco that I might want to look at before the 15th, let me know. Let me know. There's a bunch of different ones. Who needs one? Which ones do you need, Morgan? Like, which one are you looking at? Let's finish off this case. This one was my first one from North Mountain Blades. This one's really cool because it's a Tonto, but it's more of a traditionally shaped Tonto. I see so many Tontos that are like, this one's a rear flipper, but it's called a kickstop. And it's a rear flipper, but it's detached from the rest of the blade. So when you flick the blade out, it comes to rest right here and doesn't end up poking out on this side, which a lot of rear flippers do. And I love that because most traditional Japanese Tontos have a similar look where they're just a straight line from handle to blade and nothing else really going on. And I hated that little protrusion that you had in a lot of Tontos. So having something like this that looks more like a traditional Japanese Tonto made this a really big want for me, and I'm glad I was able to finally get one. Then it's a really cool, what do they call this? SLD Magic Steel. And that's not a true Hammond line that you would see on a katana. It's multiple types of steel. So you've got one type of steel, and then it's jacketed by another one. And I believe like a softer steel. So, but that's where you get that line that's on the blade. It's not a heat treatment line, but it's you can see a clear division between the different types of steels that are used in making this type of blade, and a really thick blade stock on this thing. I mean, this is a metal bar of the blade, and I really like this one. That was really cool. And then we're on to like my squirrel knives, and I don't know why this one isn't here, but this is a 6.5 trapper. This one I carried quite a bit, and it's probably why it's out here. With a Warncliffe blade, 6.5 bone stag, just a really neat one. I don't know why I put it in the case as opposed to in the box, but that's like kind of like my favorites. Now, not obviously not all my favorites are in this case, but this is kind of like the majority of my favorite knives are in here. I'll put all these in there. And that's that case. I've got another case like this that's got a bunch of stuff. I've got a lot of CJRB. I've got like my other case is a mix of stuff. Migaron has come out with, oh my god, some amazing budget stuff for Migaron. I don't know how they do it, but they've got a lot of budget stuff that is just so nice, but inexpensive, like this Norsa. I think this thing's like $30, maybe $40. D2 steel with aluminum handles. This one's hard to beat because it's so expensive, but it's so well made. I know I did a video on this one before, the Migaron Norsa. It's just such a well-made knife and super inexpensive. I think they might be a little harder to get now because I think people are realizing how good of a knife this is, and the fact that you can get it for 30, 40 bucks. I don't recall paying more than 30, maybe around 30 bucks for this thing, maybe, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy for a knife that's just this well done. So Migaron's been killing it. And where did I put this knife? Let me move this case out of the way because good grief, I've got knives everywhere. It's gonna be a hell of a cleanup tonight. One knife case that a lot of people haven't seen, that I haven't shown a lot of, is my big case. This one is also made by Casematics. This is the more expensive version because this sucker holds like 56 knives. And this is a chonky boy. Am I going to just flip a coin over on which ones go in display? Well, like I said, the ones that I know are for a fact are going to go on display are going to be, first of all, my squirrel knives. So everything squirrel knife is going to go in there. My case squirrels, these squirrels, it doesn't matter price. I mean, it's just the ones that have some meaning to me. The zombies are going to go in there because these were gotten to me from my girlfriend. This one's going to go in there because this is a vintage that I kind of stole from Chasing Blades. I had to rip it from their hands. I mean, they sold it to me, but he was very reluctant to sell this one. It's a vintage one. This was made on the same year I was born, so that's going to be in there. So basically, anything that has any special meaning for me is going to go in there. Not necessarily limited edition, but it's got to have some special meaning to me. It's going to go in there. Some, not necessarily limited edition, but some that might not be able to be purchased any longer might go in there. So maybe a few of my Coralons, like the Fire and Box one, will go in there. And then something like, I have a scarily probably my most expensive knife. Or at least my most expensive knife retail-wise is this here. This one is a burnt goldenrod second cut jig mini trapper. And this one, well, this is probably my most pricey case knife anyway. Probably not my most expensive knife. In fact, I think my most expensive knife was that Two-Face. But in terms of traditional knives, this is probably my most expensive traditional knife. Was this one right here. Burnt goldenrod. So bone scales. But the cool thing about this one is that it has raindrop Damascus blades on there. So it's a mini trapper with a raindrop Damascus, and not only raindrop Damascus, but the secondary blade is a Warncliffe, which is, again, along with Sheep's Foot's, one of my favorite profiles. And the Warncliffe variant, you don't see, I mean, they have a few. It's not like they don't make those or like they're super rare, but the fact you have a combination of this raindrop Damascus, the goldenrod, and the Warncliffe, just I ate so much ramen. I've eaten so much ramen. I've risked so many kidney stones to obtain this knife. My girlfriend would eat like a queen, but I'd be sitting there eating a bowl of ramen just to obtain this particular knife. I really want to get the full-size trapper of this knife, but it's even more expensive. But absolutely love this knife. This one will probably go in there as well. Because admittedly, this is one of those knives that I got to seriously admire. And while it's capable of being used, it's a good steel. It's sharp as all get out. I mean, this thing's a razor. I can shave with this thing. I probably won't use it. It's for me, it's a conversation piece. It's a neat to have. Where even some of my other knives, I won't have any qualms using them. Like, if I had to, I'll rip this Fire and Box out and use it. This one is just one of the few that I probably would never do. Same with the squirrels, because again, they just hold special meaning. The Sodbuster Squirrel I'll probably get a second one to carry around with me and leave one in the case. And those aren't too expensive. Hopefully I can still find them. Hopefully I can still get them. Because I know all the squirrel ones, even the yellow synthetic ones, were all limited, I think, to either anywhere from 5 to 700 made. I think the Sodbuster Jr., I don't think more than 700 were made. The Trapper, I don't think more than 500 were made. And the Wildlife series Bone, I don't believe more than 500 of those were made either. So I know the Wildlife series is getting a lot harder to get. I believe I can still get the yellow synthetics. This one, Dustin, how you doing? Mr. Hands. This one has some of my earliest acquisitions, and a lot of what I own in here are from Civivi and Kaiser. But I have been sitting here drinking tons of coffee. I know Dustin just got in here. Give me a minute, Dustin. I got to hit the washroom. I'll be right back. And before I take this in there with me by accident, I'm going to put my mic on the freaking table because I don't think anybody needs to hear anything weird going on. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. I'm back. I had to wait in line. Put my mic back on. Give me a minute. Hey, Dustin. Glad to see you here. I'm just having fun showing off my collection at the moment, trying to decide what's going to go into a display case that Morgan got me. I've got a good idea of what's going on there. But I've had a few people ask me, and also if you've missed it, because I know you just got here, these VODs stay up. So if you ever want to look at any of the previous lives, they're still available on the channel. So you can look back at anything that you might have missed. This one, I was showing off what I had in this case. This has the majority of some of my earlier collection. And a lot of these are from, like I said, Civivi, Kaiser. I have more QSP in here. And I'm trying to figure out why I have an empty spot here. I don't know why. I know I've got something that's supposed to be in there. I just can't remember what. Darn it. Okay. So some of my earlier knives. And still some favorites of mine. Like this one here. This is a Civivi. I like to call them like modern traditionals. They're slip joint knives, which I thought were really cool. But I started a lot of my collection with like Civivi, Kershaw. I got a lot of earlier Kershaw. I used to have a lot more CRKT, but I don't believe I have many of those anymore. I might have given those away to friends and family, like CRKT, things like that. Still, one of my favorite knives are these Elementums. And they've been a favorite for a lot of people. It's just a really simple knife. This one happens to be a carbon fiber flake with Damascus steel version, so a more higher version. Elementum 2, which is their button lock version. And this is where this is what they normally, like the more plainer versions look like. But they're really good knives. Seriously inexpensive. They just get the job done. And they're really well made. Nitro V steel, G10 scales, rear flipper, button lock. The only difference on some of these knives is I did go out, and one cool thing with Civivi, they do have they had titanium pocket clips available. So on some of these, I replaced the pocket clips with titanium ones, like this one here. Now, normally this would have a deeper carry pocket clip, but one thing I like about these titanium ones is they do have a flatter profile, which makes them a little easier on the hand and a little harder to see in the pocket. Did I do any burns today? No, I didn't do any burns today. I didn't get a lot in. I was debating whether I wanted to do the red bone, because I did a burn on a Browning red bone. And where did I put it? I did a burn on a Browning red bone. And I like it. At the same time, I'm not sure if I want to do the case or not. This is how the Browning red bone came out. Now, I'm not going to do another Browning because this one smelled kind of funny. So I think there was something extra on this one and not just bone. Because I'm pretty sure I got a little... I started feeling a little funny after burning this one. Not like burning the other case ones. Like when I burnt the case knives, I smelled burnt bone. But none of it made me feel weird. None of it stank. Like this one had I smelled burnt bone. So, I mean, there was bone. But there was another weird smell going on. I don't know what it was. But I didn't like it. I really didn't like it when I finished this off and I was like, okay, I'm done. I think it looks good. I like calling it a chocolate covered strawberry. My girlfriend said like a black cherry, but I don't know. I think a black cherry would need to be a little darker. Like I tried to get it nice and dark. And I got the ridges. This had really nice ridges for me to toast in. And I did get a red bone. A red jig bone from Chasing Blades. The problem is the red jig bone does look pretty. And I don't know if I want to burn the case one now because I do like the look of that one. And did I burn the gray? Yes, I did burn a gray bone. In fact, I carry it with me regularly too. Threw it in one slip. I burnt the mini. I do have a normal size trapper in gray bone, but I didn't burn that because admittedly, when I took a look at the full size trapper, I fell in love with how the gray bone on that looked. So I only burned the mini. And that's this here. And this one I did a lot lighter. I wanted to give a lighter burn to this and mainly concentrate on the ridges. And I thought I really liked the look. On the Browning, I think they did use an adhesive because I know on the scale or on the shield of that Browning, it's not much of a shield. It's more of like a, I don't know what it is, but something bubbled up around. You notice the black? Something bubbled up that wasn't there before when I was burning it. I have a feeling that might have been adhesive, and I think that's where the weird smell was coming from. Because the rest of it burnt like bone normally does. And it wasn't until I got to around here where things started to smell a little funny. So, yeah, it came out. I think it came out well, but I'm not going to do another one of the Browning ones anyway. But yeah, I thought the gray looked really good. I thought it came out really well. And I think I preferred the lighter burn. I wanted to try the light because once you go and burn something really dark, you can't go back. So I wanted to start off the light, and I think I liked the way it looked that I stopped. I didn't want to go any darker. I think I was fine. I like the lighter look. That, admittedly, I was also trying to emulate another one that I seen somebody else do, except it was a different one. Oh, no, I was trying to emulate with this one, the tin roof. The tin roof is a similar gray, except they have a different jigging on the tin roof. I think it's like a corn cob jig, so it doesn't look the same. These little hills and valleys don't look the same on the tin roof. And I was trying to make it look similar to the tin roof, which is an exclusive, I think, for Shepherd Hills. So I was kind of trying to make it look similar. And I think I did a pretty good job of emulating that one. Oh, I know Mike would love a black and a red. Um, don't say nothing. If he sees that, I might order another. I don't. Do they? I have to see if they come in a muskrat. If they have a red bone muskrat, yeah, I'll have to see if I can get a hold of one. But yeah, that's the gray bone I did. I also did the sky blue. Now the sky blue chasing blades doesn't have. These are hard to get. I tried to get Kitty to nab one for me, but even Kitty couldn't get a hold of them. Kitty was one of their distributors. But I did find a place where I could get them. I still feel bad for getting them from somewhere else. But this is the one where I was trying to emulate what I've seen somebody else do. And it's a sky blue trapper. Oh, where's my other sky blue trapper? Maybe if you saw what they look like beforehand, it might help a little bit. I got my shoebox full of case knives that I'm digging around. Buffalo horn, sky blue. Here it is. Ugh. There's a sky blue. Yeah, check to see if they have a red muskrat. I haven't looked, but it just occurred to me that, yeah, I could try that. This is what the sky blue looks like. Now, I bought 2 of these because they're a little harder to get. And I believe they might stop making these. I think. I don't know offhand. But this is what the sky blue looks like. Arrowhead shield. Yeah, I feel like I'm cheating if I get a case from anybody else from like and at the same time he understands he can't get a hold of a lot. Like the Coralons that I like picking up every now and then. The only person I know, well, the only person that I've gotten Coralons from since Chasing Blades can't get them is RL Simp. Because he gets a lot of interesting ones. But I admittedly, if it's anything else, I go to Mike. I go to Chasing Blades. Yeah, unfortunately, they couldn't get a hold of these. I found these on another retailer, and I picked 2 of them up. But this is the light blue Crandall jig, is what these are, and obviously this is the unburnt one. But I bought 2 of them, and the only reason I bought 2 of them is because they were really hard to find now. I mean, you can still get them, I believe. But I think like the minis were sold out everywhere I've looked. And I believe when I got these, I don't know if they restocked yet or not, but I believe when I got these, when I looked back again like a day or 2 after, they were out of stock. Like I got their last 2. Now, I think they did restock on these because I could have sworn I seen these back in stock, but I could be wrong. But anyway, that's the light blue. And then I toasted the other one, and then this is how it came out. And I really like it. This, admittedly, has become one of my favorite burns next to the gray and the green apples. But I believe, I think the sky blue came out exceptionally well. I did a slight bit darker than the gray bone. And I really wanted to make sure that those ridges on the Crandall jig came out. But I think this looks, to me, I really wish that I could show these in person because while I think they look great on camera, I don't believe they look anywhere near as good as they do in hand. And it's hard to, like, I've done a few photos of this one. It's a little harder to it's a little easier. I'm sorry, it's a little easier to show them a little better in the photos. But when I'm doing live with this phone, I don't think they look as good as they do in my hand. But this is one of my favorites that I've done with the toasting. This, the gray, and the green apples that I've done. Not to say that I don't like the other ones that I've done, but these admittedly have to be my favorites. And I've done 2 types of green apples already. I did one with a lighter. I did one super dark. This is like the first one I did. I darkened it up quite a lot. This one. And I did another one with a little lighter burning on this copper lock. And I decided to stick with a lighter toast on this one. I think they both look fantastic. This is that horn clip version. And I'll carry these around on occasion. If you see one of my case knives in one of these slips, that means they're getting carried around and used. But I'm so happy with the way they came out that I want to carry them around with me. This is, oh no, that's that. I didn't do anything with that one. This is that burnt amber bone. I do carry this around. I like it. That burnt amber bone one. But this one is the natural bone that I decided, I call it a toasted marshmallow. I did do it nice and dark because I wanted to see how it would come out. But yeah, I call it a toasted marshmallow. That's what it reminds me of, kind of. So I thought this came out pretty well. I was thinking getting another one eventually and doing the reverse of what I did here and going from the center and lighting and keeping it light towards the bolsters just to see how that would look in contrast. So I might get another one and try that. But those are all my burnt ones. What is this one? Oh no, this is the gray. That's the gray bone one. You saw that already. Those are all the ones that I burnt. I burnt quite a few. Aside from that that burnt amber. That burnt amber was, that's how it came. I did not burn that one. But yeah, these are all the ones I burnt so far. I'm still debating whether I want to burn that red case or not. Because again, it has like it's almost orange. And I still want to try a burn on it. But I'm thinking of getting another one and trying it on a second one. Because I just like the way the red one looked. I could offer it's just I would be happy to if anybody wanted me to burn a knife. The only problem is though, like I feel, and I know there are sellers on whatnot that sell customized burn knives. I think what was his name? Something Thunder, Big Thunder. I'm sorry. My apologies if I'm murdering a name. I can't recall the name. I have a hard time with names. But he does burns on knives, and he'll do like little patterns and stuff, which are really interesting and cool. And he'll sell those. I just feel like I could do something like I do with these, but I'd be hesitant to do anything like different, like do any special patterns or anything, because the way I see it is they're how should I say this? It's become kind of like a real neat personal type of customization. I mean, not saying that I don't want anybody to have the same thing. It's just like I know everybody's going to want their particular look and would like to have a knife maybe burned in a particular way. And it's really hard to, like, if I do it too much or too, like, especially if I do it too much, I'd hate for somebody to be unhappy with it. Like, say somebody wanted something like this and it turned out like, I don't know, where is it? Where's the other one? And it turned out more like this and they weren't happy with it. You know, I hate for them to be unhappy with something that I did on their knife. The other option would be literally buying a bunch of knives and toasting them and letting people pick, obviously, but that means putting up front quite a lot of money to buy a bunch of knives that I would then toast. And that's going to take a lot of, well, yeah, that's going to take a lot of cash. I don't have the money to just start buying knives. Well, I did buy knives to toast, but you know what I mean. I can't like grab like 5 gray bones in one swoop, because I feel that some people might want to buy a few of them. And then if I burn 5 gray bones and say only 2 people decide they want to buy it, and now I have like 3 other gray bones that are sitting there and nobody's wanting, you kind of lose out on the money. Not to mention the fact that I'm paying full price for these, or paying whatever, like I get them from Chasing Blades and stuff. I don't have a dealer license, so I'm not buying anything at any dealer discount. How long does it take to burn one? Actually, not very long. It doesn't take very long at all. I'm hoping to get another knife by next week's live, because I kind of really want to do another burning. And I'm still kind of debating on doing the red one. But part of it depends on a couple of things. It depends on how dark you want to burn it, and obviously what kind of knife it is. The darker you burn something is going to take a lot longer to do than something like, say, that tin roof that I showed you, that that gray bone, or even the sky blue one, because those are much lighter. I'm gonna pull these out again for examples. Something like this won't take nearly as long as something like this. And keep in mind, once you go darker, you can't go lighter. You can only go darker. But yeah, this takes considerably longer time than something like this. Mainly because when you're toasting a knife, when you're toasting a case, I can't just sit here and just keep toasting and toasting and toasting until it's done. Because these things heat up really quick. And if you heat them up too high, you can run into problems with damaging the bone. You could possibly run into problems with, affecting how the knife even operates. Now, I don't think it'll ever get hard enough or hot enough to like affect like the heat treatment or anything. I doubt that's going to happen unless you sit there and just lay on the knife for a good long time with a cooking torch. However, it's still possible you could affect how it functions, because the heat could affect the springs. Like I said, if you heat it up too high, you could even crack the bone. So the reason why it takes so much longer to do this is I'm toasting a little bit, and then I have to let it rest, let it cool off, and I let it cool off naturally. It's not like I'm going to dip it in water or anything. I might have a fan going that might help it along, but I let it cool off. So I have to give it a few minutes, and then if I want it darker, then I have to go at it again to get it darker. And I'm usually doing like one side at a time. Like I might, if it's a lighter burn like this, I can usually do the entire side, let it rest for a while. If I'm good with that, then I'll go on to the other side. This one, it might take several passes. So each pass, I'm going to let it rest for a good 10, 15 minutes. Then I'm going to go back at it again. And if it's still not dark enough, I'm going to let it rest for another 10, 15 minutes and then go back at it again. And then again until I get it as dark as I want. So that's where it takes a lot of time, is letting that knife rest for a little while and cool off. So that way you don't run into any problems with like cracking a wood scale, or messing up a pin or even the shield or whatever. And I've had one knife that, I think it might have been this one. Like this has some good snap to it. Okay. But one thing I noticed is that this was one of the very first knives I did. So this was kind of an experimental knife. I did lose a little bit of snap. And I think part of the reason why might have been I did let this run a little hotter. And like I feel it's still got a good snap, but I feel like when I first got this knife, it was a little stronger. And in fact, I remember after when I did burn this one, when I did finish, there was a point where like I could bring it down to a certain point and I'd have to push it the rest of the way. Like I'd lost its, I think it was on this blade, the secondary, where it lost its snap completely. Now I did oil it and clean it up and it's returned. You know, that snap is back, but not to the same extent that it was when I first got it. So, like I said, because of that, I'm watching the temperatures a lot more closely. I think there were a couple times where when I was burning this one, I hit above 200 degrees, which is probably, you know, which is where I probably shouldn't have been. So now when I was doing stuff like these, I have a laser thermometer and I'll watch it, like I'll toast it and I'll check it with a thermometer. And if I'm around like 150 to 170, I'm done. I let it sit and cool off for a little while. And then once it's cooled off to like under 100, I'll go back over it again real quick and see, you know, get to where I want it and then go from there. But that's what I'm saying. You do have to be careful. Even you'd think it wouldn't affect it, but like I said, I do believe that this one doesn't have as big a snap as it did when I first got it. I mean, it's got its snap, it's got a lot of it back. It's not bad. But I think I got lucky with this. It could have been worse. I'm glad it didn't ruin the knife. The knife is still perfectly fine, thankfully. There you go. This over there. Hold on a second. So yeah, those are all the knives that I burned. Hold on, Dustin. I think it would be awesome if someone had a show like Chasing Blades and offered to burn a knife live that someone bought. That'd be kind of neat. And then could pick live how dark they want. The hard part on that is they'd have to have a really good camera. I'm using my phone. I have a Samsung phone. I'm using my phone, which has a fantastic camera. But like we've said before, like I've shown, sometimes they don't come out like I said, this one looks so much better to me in hand than it does on camera. I mean, I think it still looks good on camera, but it looks so much better in my hand than it does there. Like I feel like I lose a lot of the detail on cam. Maybe if I had a much better dedicated camera, it would come out better, but I don't want to spend the money on that. I'll use my phone. Now, I mean, it's still possible. You still get a good idea of how dark the burn is. So, I mean, yeah, that'd be kind of neat. I don't know if it's something that I'd want to do. I get nervous enough when I was doing, because I did a few auctions, just a handful of auctions. And obviously I'm not doing them now. And it's not because it's more because of me. Like I got nervous enough shipping stuff out, and you know, because I watch the postman like a hawk when knives are coming in, because I want my stuff. And then I realized when I was selling a few knives, I was selling some knives out of my collection, I would watch them like a hawk after I shipped them out. And when I've got like a bunch of knives that I'm shipping out, like I'm getting nervous because I want people to get their stuff. I know how I feel. I know how I feel when I don't get my stuff. That I hate for somebody to go through the same thing when they don't get their stuff. So now I'm agonizing over watching stuff, you know, that other people are waiting on. You know, just stress. Now I did have fun doing the shows, but I was only selling stuff out of my collection. It's not like I'm a dealer or anything like that. And I've gotten to a point where I think I've sold off the majority of what I've been wanting to clear my collection out of. I still have like a knife or two that is in my buy it now. I know like that, like I said, that's a VV Terax. I have an extra Terax, which is this knife here. I have an extra one in the box. It's still wrapped in the knife is still in the plastic inside of its taco shell. I never took the knife out. I did check to make sure it was in there. I opened the box to make sure the knife was in there. But I already have one in my collection. I actually got this from Monthly Knife Club. So I got another one of those and I don't need it. So I know I have that in my buy it now. And if you're interested in that knife, I actually have it open to offers as well. but it's in my buy it now. If you check my profile on Whatnot, and you want, it looks exactly the same natural G10, same blade, same size. This is the exact knife that's in there, just in the box. You can get it on my buy it now. I'm debating. There was another knife that I was debating on putting on there. Now I can't remember which one that was. There was another knife I was thinking about selling, but I can't remember what it is now. But I was talking about something. I can't remember what I was talking about. Yeah, every time I send something to Morgan and I are great friends. We've known each other for a while, and we'll send each other weird stuff now and then. But as soon as I send something off to Morgan, tracking numbers in her inbox or in a message, and then I ask every day if she's got it. Like, I'll ship it out, and an hour later, did you get it yet? The mailman hasn't even picked it up yet. But yeah, no, I agonize over that stuff. Oh yeah, I was going over this case. I forgot about this. These are some of the earlier knives that have been in my collection. I still have some newer knives in here as well. This is mainly my Civivi, Kaiser, Kershaw. What else do I have in here? Kind of a mix. Oh, and QSP case. I haven't gotten to the point of where I fill the entire case with just one manufacturer yet. That would be crazy. But I have a lot of my earlier knives that I've gotten from Civivi. Some of the first ones, like I was talking about, the Civivi Elementum 2s. Because that's where a lot of my collection started. I started with a lot of moderns. Moderns were my favorite. And then somebody introduced me to traditionals, and I thought they were freaking nice. And I thought they were too nice. And then I spent way too much money on traditional knives. And like I've mentioned before, nearly every knife in my collection is going to be a favorite because I'm paying for all these. With the exception of the odd gift or the exception of the odd giveaway win, I'm spending my money that my hard-earned money on these knives. So of course, if I'm going to be spending money on a knife, I'm going to want something that I'm really going to like. So I do research. I'm going to research, and I'm going to buy a knife I think I'm pretty sure I'm going to like the Civivi Yonder. Fantastic knife. This one's done in Damascus with can't remember what kind, Carudi wood, I believe, scales. Awesome blade. So much so that after getting this knife and realizing how much I liked it, I got another one in a G10 scale with a non-Damascus steel. I believe this is either Nitro V or 14C28N. I can't remember. And of course, for some odd reason, they decided not to put this on the blade. So it's either 14C28N steel or Nitro V. I know it's one of those two steels. But awesome blade from Civivi. In fact, this one won a Blade Show award, I think, back in 2023 or 24, I think. Super popular. These two have been out for a while. They're not new knives, but they're one of my favorite knives from Civivi. And they're called the Q-Bit. Budget knives. A lot of the Civivi I have are budget. Not a lot of them. I think maybe one or two might run over $100. Otherwise, they're around 50 to 70 or $80, depending. The Q-Bit is one of their lesser expensive knives, but aluminum scales. It's simple. Great button lock. It's a plunger lock, but still a really good lock. I love the almost sheep or almost leaf style blade on this. And it's just a really comfortable knife. Super slicey. Nice size belly on this one. Like a nice thick, not so much wide, but I don't know. Just a thin, nice slicey blade. It's simple. It's not like, it's not like it's got fireworks going off, but it's just a really nice knife. And I liked it so much I got titanium. I switched out the pocket clips with titanium because I like the titanium pocket clips on both of them. I've got a red and black, and I've got this blue, both aluminum. You know, when I really like a knife, I'm going to get more than one. And I swapped the pocket clips on both of them. But just a really nice knife, and even has a bottle opener. Not that I use it much. But they're light. The scales are really nice, and it's super slicey, nice and sharp. I mean, as far as like a utility, like an EDC carry, this one, the Elementum 2s have been a favorite for a lot of people for a very long time. Also a button lock. I mean, I think the Elementum 2s really woke people up to a lot of modern knives. I'm not saying that they were the ones, but I mean, the Elementum 2s were just so super popular for a good long while. Still popular, I believe. And it's a simple knife. Like I said, it's not super flashy, but they do what they do, and they do it well. This one I think was called the 6 Gill. Interesting blade, kind of a weird bendy sheep's foot. This one is a hole. That, well, the hell was in here? There was supposed to be something in there. Where'd you go? I think you were supposed to be in there. This one, I forgot what this was called. I can't remember what this was called, but it's a really neat knife. It's also Civivi. I wanted to show this one because this one's a favorite of mine from them as well. And this one had an interesting story when I got it. This is called the Anaki. Another button lock from Civivi. Just a really kind of neat knife. Like harpoon style blade. Super light. Aluminum scales. You can see all the lightning holes in there. Nice solid plunger button lock. Really light to carry, but really snappy and quick, and just really neat. The reason why this one has an interesting story is I actually bought all 3 of these knives at the same time. Okay. I got these knives in from Amazon. And I was doing a video, and I did record this. I did put this out. It's on the channel. I was recording a video on all 3 of these knives, and I'm unboxing them, and I'm opening them up in the video, and I'm unboxing them. And I got to this knife, I unboxed it, and I don't have it out now, but I kept it. I unboxed the knife, and it was weird because it was the only box that was like plastic sealed out of all of them. And I thought it was kind of weird, but I didn't think too much of it. You know, it was like shrink wrapped. So I opened up the shrink wrapped, opened up the box, opened up the taco, and inside the taco pouch, wasn't a knife. It was a block of wood with 2 large bolts wrapped up in tape. So there was no knife in that box. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And I believe what happened was, now I contacted Amazon, let them know what happened. Told them I opened it up on video. If you guys want proof, you want photos, I will send you all the photos. And they were really good, and they got me a replacement, which is what this one was. And I kept, they said I can just trash the old, you know, the junk that I got, the block of wood with the bolts on it. But I kept it. It's buried in another box. But I believe what happened was somebody probably bought the knife. Okay. When they received it, they probably took the knife out, replaced it with a bunch of junk, that, you know, that block of wood and the bolts, and then heat shrunk it, and then returned it to Amazon as a return. And I believe because it was shrink wrapped, Amazon probably didn't bother to check because it looked like it hadn't been opened. Now, again, it was weird because this is the only box from Civivi I've ever gotten, or not from Civivi, but it's the only Civivi box I ever got that was shrink wrapped. So I thought that was weird. But, you know, you don't think about it. It looks like it never been opened. and they probably returned it to Amazon, got their money back, and got a knife out of it. If you understand what I mean, they basically scammed Amazon. And I believe when I made my purchase, I was the lucky one that when they pulled the box for my order, they grabbed the one that somebody had returned, believing it was never opened in the first place. So why not put it back in stock? And like I said, I was the lucky one that ended up with it. So that was the interesting story with this knife. It's not my favorite because of that story, but it's a favorite Civivi of mine just because I really like the knife. But that's how that happened. Again, I have a video of it somewhere if you want to look, but it was crazy. I really just did not expect something. And the funny thing is, it's not an expensive knife. That's another one that's in their budget line. It's not a terribly expensive knife. I would figure if you're going to do something like that, then do it to a much more expensive knife than that. But somebody really wanted that knife, and somebody really didn't want to pay for it. I have no idea why. But anyway, this is another favorite from Civivi. A lot of people love this one because it has what they call a super lock, which is kind of like similar, not the exact same thing, but similar to Andrew Demko's shark lock, where you have the lock in the back, you push or pull down, it releases the blade. This is called the Civivi Vision FG, but a really popular one. A lot of people really like this. It's really neat knife, a really neat knife, and it's very fidgety because of this lock. It's just a really cool knife. Just unfortunate for me, it's a little longer than I feel comfortable carrying. I mean, I'd love to carry this thing. It's just, again, I live in one of those states where if I were to pull a knife out like this to use it, even just using it as, as a tool, the blade length would probably turn some heads and people would be like, hey, what are you doing? Which is kind of sad, really. I mean, I think it's stupid, but it is what it is where I live. This one is a special one for me because my girlfriend bought me this one. This was a Civivi Krabby. Nothing super unique about this one. It's just a really good knife. Civivi makes some really good knives. They might not be the flashiest knives in the world, but if you're looking for a good knife and you don't want to spend a lot of money, Civivi makes some great stuff. This one's called the Krabby. Thumb stud, liner lock, nothing super special other than I like the color. And it's got a really nice sheep's foot blade. And it's just a very comfortable knife. A good one. And it's what this one is. I believe this one's 14C28N. Yeah, 14C28N steel. G10 scales. Just a really good knife. And another one that, now this one, my girlfriend got me, so yeah, it does have some sentimental value in it, but it's also a user. I've carried this one a lot because it's such a useful knife. Just like I carry that pocket-worn Mediterranean around. That's another one that my girlfriend bought me. And I carry that one. I carry the Mediterranean one with me every day. Which is this one here. This one I carry every day because she got it for me. And this way I always have a little bit of something for my girlfriend with me in my pocket whenever I'm out and about. So regardless of what knife I'm carrying, this one's always going to be somewhere on me. Do I collect OTFs? Hiya, Super Dad. How you doing? I have some OTFs. I don't go out of my way to collect them all the time. And I have my reasons for... I have my reasons. Let me see. Where are my OTFs? I'm trying to remember where I have them. Oh my God. No, I don't think any of them are here. Hold on a second. I've got a few. Some of them are in, let's see here. There's one tiny one. That's from Tecto. There's these two. These are from my friends at, or these two. These are from my friends at Titan International. I've actually received these as gifts from them. And then I have another Tecto Hold on a second. But it's at a different... My other Tecto is in another castle. We've got boxes everywhere right now, so you'll have to bear with me. Because I'm going from case to case. I'm trying to remember where the hell I stuffed everything. My other automatic is this one, although this is not an OTF. That is my Cobra Tech. This is a side automatic hidden release trapper I showed earlier today. And my Tecto, I think, is in this. I think I've got it in a roll. Yes, I do have it in a roll. Let me pull that out. This is my big one. That one's also made by Tecto. This was probably one of my pricier knives I've ever got. These four here are OTFs. Now, I like them. They're neat. But I don't go out of my way to collect them, and I'll show you why. Now, they're not bad knives. These are all really good, really well-made knives. Oh, wait, I've got another one. Where did you go? Oh, it got buried somewhere. I lost it. It's gone forever. It was a really tiny one. It's something along this, but I think it was like more of a budget. Like where this one's made by the same one that made this. These are both Tectos. American made. Well, I don't know if this one's American made, but I know this one's American made. I mean, they're really neat, nice and snappy. These are made from Colossal. Again, from my friends at Titan International. This one's called a Tesla. Got dual serrated edges on this one. This one's cool because this one's also from Colossal Blades, except this one has a Damascus steel blade. Let me see there. So this one has a Damascus steel blade, also fully automatic. And then my Tecto, this is the Tecto Humvee. It's a big one, partially serrated. This one actually went in for repair, which is not a bad thing. It got stuck open, but it's a testament to how good their customer service is. I contacted their customer service. They asked told them what was wrong. The blade was stuck open. I couldn't retrieve the blade. Like once it was out, it wouldn't go back in. They're like, no problem. They sent me a label. I shipped it out to them. And a few days later, I got it back, working as good as ever. And this thing's got some kick to it. Boom. And so it's not, quality-wise, they're great knives, but I believe that's a good testament to how their customer service was, because they took care of me. They didn't run me through any huge questionnaire, what did you do, this and that. And I was like, oh, you got a problem? Oh yeah, okay, sure, no problem, we got it. Cover you. You're done. Taken care of. And it was easy as pie. The only sad thing is I had to wait for it to get back. That's all. But really awesome OTFs. Now, this is why I do like them. They are kind of neat. Okay. But there's a reason why I don't go overboard in collecting these. The reason being is they all kind of suffer from the same thing. Now, even the most expensive ones I see do the same thing. And what happens is they all have a little bit of blade play. They have some blade movement to them. They got a little wiggle. And I think that's more due to the design of the knife. It's not something like, oh, their tolerances are butt or anything like that. Like this is a great quality knife. And the same thing I've seen with Microtech, same thing I've seen with other OTFs, is there's a little bit of blade play. And that, no offense to, any of the makers, they, like you said, these are great knives, but it does make me a little bit nervous. I don't really see OTFs as being really hard use knives. I mean, for self-defense, I'm sure they're great. I mean, they're quick. they're, you know, they definitely have that neat factor. But like if I were to use like when I carry a knife, a lot of times I'm carrying it because I need the knife, I need the blade for a tool. I'm, you know, cutting boxes all the time. I'm cutting cables or zip ties and other stuff. And while these will do it, I just feel a little bit more iffy because that blade play, like if I push it too hard on something or I put it to a task that's a lot tougher, that I could possibly run into trouble with, maybe, you know, either the mechanism breaking or something. Not saying that it would. I just haven't tested it out with these, but every OTF has blade play in it. It doesn't matter. I've played with knives that were hundreds of dollars. OTF, it's there. They've got a little blade wiggle. And like I said, it just makes me a little nervous in regards to how hard use they can be. I don't believe OTFs are very hard use knives. Great for self defense, great for light tasks. But if I need something to do, if I need something to really work for me, I actually have now been preferring a lot of traditional knives for really tough tasks. Some other folders, depending on the folder, like I said, these qubits are freaking fantastic. I love these. If I need something that if I know I'm going to be doing something that's going to be really like, if I'm going to be using it hard, like I know, for example, when I was doing a lot of installs, there was one time where I was doing installs for a school, and I was installing a lot of computers in this like school, the school district. Um, Now this is when the schools weren't in uh, in session, and I was prepping stuff outside the school, so I don't think I was doing anything weird in the school. But I was prepping stuff on another site for these school installations, and no, I was not in the school. I'm making that plain because that would be weird. Uh, but we were having to set these things up, and to set these systems up, I was opening hundreds of boxes. Okay, and a lot of times cutting um, a lot of ties and things like that. And in that case, I didn't have this knife yet, but I'd use something like this, like Ontario. This is a model. This is Ontario Rat 2, I believe. Yeah, Model 2. Really tough knife. I had something similar to this, but I wouldn't use the OTF for something like that. I believe if I used an OTF for opening like hundreds of boxes, that OTF would have probably just died. Um, Box cutter. I think at one point we were using box cutters, and I've probably gone through like 10 blades in those box cutters. We were opening so many boxes. I don't think a OTF would have handled that. But if I were to use any of these knives for something like that, the Ontarios are freaking fantastic. These Savivis are great, and they're easy to sharpen. Savivis have been some of my favorite budget knives. This is a scintilla. You can't even get these knives anymore. These were a collaboration between Blade HQ and Savivi. In fact, the only way to get these is you'd have to buy something from Blade HQ when they had a special promotion. And the special promotion is generally you spend like 100 or you spend like 150, and they'll throw in a free Savivi. And this is what you would get, something like this. This is called a scintilla. I got this one from Whatnot. This one I actually got from Blade HQ. This is the same scintilla, except this one's in black wash with maroon G10 scale. So you can see the Blade HQ logo on one side of the blade. But otherwise, the only way you're going to get these is if you buy them or buy a knife during a special promotion, or if you're lucky like me and found somebody selling it on Whatnot, because I don't know, maybe they just didn't want it anymore. The great little knife, the scintillas. This is probably one of my smallest Savivis. This is the mini Elementum frame lock. The funny thing is this is actually a very capable little knife and sharp. 14C28N steel, and it's a frame lock. This thing's tinier than hell. No pocket clip, but you get a little pocket ring that I had to stick on there. Rear flipper, but probably one of the smallest knives I own. One of the smallest knives I own. That's fully capable of doing some real work. It's just really, really neat. I remember doing a video of like this knife, and then one of the biggest knives I own, which is from Cold Steel, which I don't have near me at the moment. I don't know where I put it. It's in another box. That knife is in another castle. Then I have my Kaisers in here. This has to be one of my favorite Kaisers. This is the Bulldog. This one has Rudy Wood, I believe, scales, and a Nitro V steel blade. I just love the shape of this thing. It's one of my favorite, if not favorite, Kaisers out there. Just because of how this feels. The blade shape is freaking awesome. Nice and slicey. That I got the Halloween version. It's a mini Bulldog. Because, again, I just love that knife. Made by Osho. Awesome designer. He's the one that designed that Two-Face also that I have. And, of course, I've got some drop bears. You can't own a few Kaisers without having at least one drop bear. I've got two because I just thought these two were neat. You can see through the scales on these. You can see how the springs and the crossbar works. And I just thought that was really neat. Another two of my favorite knives from Kaiser. Kaiser's been putting out some real bangers. I like their little mini Militars. In fact, I've carried this one a lot with me. This one's a D2 style version. I've also got a version of that one, except this one I believe is Nitro V, not D2. A little bit more dressy version of the mini Militar. But that D2 version, I've carried this for a while. I carry this a lot. It's just a really snappy, quick, and kind of dressy looking knife that it doesn't look very intimidating to a lot of people when they first see the knife, which is another thing. It doesn't really give people the heebie-jeebies if I were to pull this knife out and use it through my day-to-day, which some people are just kind of weird with that. I mean, I've had comments. I've brought a knife out, like I've brought this knife out and was doing work with this, and a perfectly legal knife where I'm at. And I've pulled this knife out to do some work. And I've had people like, dude, that's huge. And I laugh and joke, but in my head, I'm like, you serious? Tell me you're not that intimidated by it. It's not, But yeah, some people are a little weird when it comes to knives. But this is one that I found that like people don't really give it too much of a second look. Until I flick it out and they're like, whoa. But it's a little dressier, which is why I like carrying that. This one is one of my other favorites from Kaiser. This one's new for this year. This one's the Seagull. And I just thought this was really neat. It's the only knife I have that's currently got Richlight for scales. But I thought it was really cool because this one has a few different methods for deployment. You got your thumb hole. You got your rear flipper, like I was just doing earlier. And you've got a really well done front flipper, which makes it really easy to use. And it's a liner lock. Just really cool knife from Kaiser. And the closest thing I have to a Spyderco is this. This is the Cormorant, Kaiser's Cormorant. The closest thing to a Spyderco looking knife that I got. And I got this because this one's S35 VN steel. So it's a steel that you see in a lot of higher end premium knives that run over like around 100, over $100. But when I got this knife, I don't know what was going on, but for some odd reason, they were going for like around 70 or less than $70. And for S35 VN steel on a folder, that's pretty well made. I mean, G10 scales. I also got it because PlayStation. You got the PlayStation buttons on there. It is, to me, it is still kind of weird looking because of the blade shape. It reminds me of a lot of Spyderco's. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't gotten a Spyderco yet, because I always thought Spyderco's looked a little weird. Big reason why I got this is because of the PlayStation buttons. I have a PlayStation 5. I thought it was really neat to have a knife that had the same little buttons on it. So that's kind of a no-brainer. In this one, we've also got, okay, this one's another S35 VN from Kaiser. This is called the Feist. I don't believe they make this one anymore. Nice little executive style knife. Very business looking, very sleek looking knife. I do like knives like this where they have kind of a non-threatening look to them, because like I said, some people just get the heebie-jeebies anytime you pull a knife out. If it looks even remotely like, say, something like, I don't know, let me pull one out, something like this, they all freak out. Whereas this one, they barely give this a second glance. Like, this one is so much more dangerous. This one is, oh no, that's nothing. I don't know. Some people are like that. A really nice little blade from Kaiser, more of an executive style. This one was funny because this one's called a Squidward. I just like the name. That was purple. I just like the name of this one. I've got some Bear & Sons. These are the Nakamas. These are probably the most popular Bear & Son knives, modern-wise, that I've seen. A lot of people go gaga over these from Whatnot. I liked it so much. A 14C28N steel Tonto-style blade. I liked them so much, I got two of them. There's this one here, which is the gray titanium with the blue highlights. And then I got a black titanium coated blade with copper highlights I thought looked really neat. They've got a few other versions out now. I know they do a lot of collaborations with a lot of sellers on Whatnot. I know this 4th of July, they had a special 4th of July one. They had a few of those. Really neat ones. This one's also a Bear & Son. This one's a Bear Edge. Probably a really inexpensive knife. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is. But it was just neat because reason why I like this one is I got a bunch of clothing with this exact same camo pattern. So when I found out that Bear & Sons, or in this case it's called Bear Edge, which is their budget line, when I found out that they came out with this knife and it had the same exact strata camo, you can see where it says strat just before it cuts off, the same exact strata camo that I have on some of my shirts. I even have a jacket and some other stuff done in that exact same pattern. Where is it? I'm right next to my closet, so I can pull one out easy. Here's a t-shirt. But these were made by Redhead from Bass Pro. Where's that knife? There it is. Same exact pattern. It just sort of disappears in there. I had to get it. I just thought it was the neatest thing. I have a jacket, I have pants. It's cool. Because this was the hunting gear that I was planning to go hunting, or the clothing. This is part of the hunting gear that I got because I had won a hunting contest, and I was supposed to go on a hog hunt down in Texas. I even paid a small deposit, and the contest I won was going to pay for the rest of the hunt. And so I paid like $100 deposit, and then I was going to go. My plan was to go to Texas, do this awesome hog hunt, and then COVID hit. Like literally, like maybe a week or two after I had put my deposit in. You know, they were saying, "Oh, it's nothing. Stay home. Nobody's going anywhere." And so for the longest time, we couldn't go anywhere. Lost my deposit because it's non-returnable. Never went on that hog hunt. I was very upset. And I have a closet full of hunting gear. Like I said, I have a jacket. I had a couple shirts. I have the pants, all matching. So I was like, I'm ready to go. I even have boots. I have boots in the same exact camo. I went goofy on it. It was on sale. Yes, I am so easily amused. And then to find a knife that matched all of it, like I could disappear in the forest behind my apartment building, no problem. So yeah, I'm easily amused by that. We got a few other Bear & Sons in here. This one's a rosewood folder. This is more of a traditional, like a farmhand. There's that lock back. And I just really like the handles on this one. Really simple, yeah, really nice, simple folder from Bear & Son. Then I have a similar one, except this one's done in like a gold tone, whatever looking thing. I think I won this actually. This one I got from Chasing Blades, because these are really inexpensive. Then I got some Kershaw Iridiums, which I think are really, really neat. They're not as expensive. These are budget knives. These are made of D2 steel as opposed to the MagnaCut. But I liked the styling, and they're really nifty blades. These are a little smaller than the Bel Airs, but really nifty little blades. I got 2 of these because I thought these, first of all, they were inexpensive in comparison. Then I just thought they were really nice. And more Kershaw. These are more cheaper Kershaw. Vostieds. I need to get more Vostieds. Got a Vosteed Raccoon. Awesome. Vostieds are crazy good. Porcupine, probably another one of my favorite everyday carries right here. This Porcupine, hands down one of my favorite carries, with a blue micarta, perfectly sized blade, nice and thick, slicey. The top liner lock is nice and secure. The wire pocket clip is surprisingly comfy and nice. And the thumb hole, nice and easy to deploy. Very snappy, and just a great all-around knife. Another one that I really like carrying around with me. This one's kind of neat. I like carrying this one as well. It's a little bit more flashy than your typical Vosteed, but really cool. And I really like the blade on this one. Nice, like almost cleaver-like blade on it. Then begin with the QSPs. The Canaries are crazy quick. This is another reason why I don't collect many automatic knives or even assisted knives anymore. Because after picking up some of these knives, especially like this knife from QSP, there's no reason, from at least that I can see, unless you just really like the idea of pressing a button. These things are just as quick. Especially this, like this QSP is killer fast. And not expensive, where you end up paying a good amount of money for a really good automatic. I mean, I still do like automatics, like that hidden release trapper that I got. I love that thing. But as far as need for an automatic, this kind of kills that argument for me, because this deploys so fast. Sure, I have to use the thumb stud. I don't just press a button, but when you've been using knives as much as I have, this thing is, I mean, these deployment methods are just second nature, and it's just super quick. I got another version. This one is a crossbar lock version of the same knife. Now, the crossbar locks aren't as fast because you got the blade rubbing up against that crossbar, which I feel slows it down a hair, but it's still super quick. And then this one is probably my biggest QSP. This is the Grebe. I think QSP likes naming their knives under bird, or naming their knives, or giving their knives bird names. Pretty sure Grebe is a bird. Probably the biggest one I have from them that's really cool. And these are fantastic, the Penguins. Now this one is a version 2 liner lock, and D2 steel on this one with red and black carbon fiber flake for the scales. Another real snappy. Really love the blade profile on this one. And then the next thing, or the next one I got another Penguin, and I got it from Monthly Knife Club, so I didn't know it was coming in. Like, I got this I picked this knife up on Whatnot, and then a week later, my monthly knife club came in, and I got this. And this one is really cool because it's the first one I've got that I've ever seen that has aluminum G10, which is, it's hard to see because it's so, the light, it's so reflective. And it's also one of their glide locks. So instead of a liner lock, you've got their version of the crossbar lock. Still super quick. Same awesome blade, except this one is also done in 14C28N. So in my opinion, a better steel. I like it better than D2. D2 is still a really good steel. I just like the corrosion resistance of 14C28N over the D2. And the glide lock makes it nice and easy because you don't have to deal with the liner lock. And the aluminum scales were just really neat. I have a hard time showing it because it's so reflective. Like here, flat on, and now you can barely make a thing out. Well, if I bring it really close, maybe. There we go. Aluminum G10 scales. Really cool stuff. And then this one, I think it was like, I can't remember what this one's called. QSP. I think this is the only one that wasn't named after a bird. I'd like to say this was called a lizard or something. I can't remember now. But longer, thinner blade. I think I got this from Whatnot in order to enter a contest, I believe. And then this one was one of my newer ones. This one had a weird name to it. Now I can't remember what it's called. But it has an interesting shape. 14C28N steel. Sheep's foot blade. But you'll notice that the handle bends back compared to most handles that sort of bend the other direction. Like these handles sort of bend towards the blade, where this one's bending away. And I think I realized, or the reason why, is this thing is like really ergonomic. It feels really good in the hand. Front flipper, thumb hole. I wish I could remember the name of this one. I just did a video recently of this. But that reverse curve, once I got it in my hand, now there's no finger choil up on the blade. You got a finger groove here, which your forefinger kind of naturally wants to go to, jimping on the back where your thumb goes. And then I realized that reverse curve fits nicely right here around the meat of my thumb. And it doesn't look it. It looks awkward, but it's really comfortable. The pocket clip disappears in my hand the way this is being held. And so while I can't really choke up on the blade, I still feel like I've got a good deal of control on it. And it's just really, really comfy. And God dang it, it's gonna irritate me because I can never remember I have the hardest time with names. And I'm gonna have to look because it's gonna bug me otherwise. And I know I just did a video recently. I'm pretty sure just last week. But I need to dig. Because we are at, where are we? Did I put the video out or did I just record it? Oh no. Maybe I just put the video out and I didn't, or maybe I just recorded it and didn't put it out. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to put the video out. I didn't do it yet. Well, that doesn't help me. Okay, so video coming for this one. At that point, you'll get the name for it. A really cool one from QSP. And I've only got a couple spaces left in this case. It's another, where was that other open space? I know there was another one around here somewhere. Okay, I lost it. I don't know where it is. Nope, that's got a knife in it. Oh, right there it is. So I got 2 spaces left in this case. But anyway, that's what was in this case. This has my Savivi, my Kaiser, majority of them anyway. I'm trying to think if I had any other interesting Kaiser. Oh yeah, there's this one that I've been carrying a lot lately too. This one's from Kaiser. I just put it in a slip because I don't because I've been carrying it around. This is that trestle with a Damascus steel blade that was done in acid wash that has all the funky colors on it. This one sucks because, well, it doesn't. The knife doesn't suck. It sucks that I can't get all the colors on it on the camera. With a naked eye, these colors really come out. Now on the camera, it looks like something, looks like a little bit of green towards the edge. And it's a true Damascus, acid washed to bring those colors out. But if you're looking at it with a naked eye, like if I'm looking at it here, I see the green, and as soon as I tilt the blade, I see purple, I see blue, I even see orange. Like there's a really cool, I see yellow, like a really cool color shift as you move the blade. And unfortunately, the camera doesn't really pick it up. It picks up like that one color, and that's it. Where I'm seeing a lot of colors with the naked eye. And just a really cool slip joint from Kaiser. The cool thing about this slip joint too is it does have a midpoint. And the way they did the midpoint on this is the midpoint is not at 90 degrees. The midpoint is just a bit greater than 90 degrees. And there's a reason why they did that. Is they did it because they wanted to make it safer for people to close with one hand. So I risked it only because I've done it before. I remember doing this on video before, and I put on a glove because I wasn't sure. But that midpoint is just a hair greater than 90 degrees in order to make it a bit safer to close with one hand, so you can bring it to the half stop and then bring it the rest of the way closed without having to use two hands. Still have to use two hands to open it, but at least I can fold this over without chopping my fingers off. And this sucker is sharp as all get out. That's another favorite of mine from Kaiser. And I think that's it. I know this was a weird one. I was really just wanting to keep with the live because I've been enjoying these lives, chatting with you guys, and I just thought it'd be neat to go over some of my collection. I still have plenty of other stuff. Like I've got another case that I haven't gone through, another one of these cases I haven't gone through. Maybe we'll go through them again at some point. You can see what all other weird stuff that I have. You've seen my shoebox of case knives, and I'm hoping to get another case, another one of these things or something similar, another display case that I can start putting these knives somewhere other than a freaking shoebox. I still have a bunch of Rough Riders that are in a box in the closet that I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with. Because some of those Rough Riders, I've sold the majority of them. But a lot of them are now like what I'm left with that I want to keep. A lot of like the anniversary ones and just the harder to find ones that caught my eye and admittedly don't want to get rid of them because they're just unique and neat. But we're running towards 6 o'clock, and I've got a ton of stuff I got to do yet. And I'm sure Chasing Blades is probably going to be running another show later today, if they're not already running one, and I'd love to be able to check it out. But I think this is where we're going to end it for tonight. And I really appreciate you guys showing up and just chatting with me and spending some time with me. It's just, yeah, not a lot of new knives this week. Next week, I know I'm going to be getting a few traditionals in. So I have more stuff to do. Actually, the thing is, I don't know how I'm going to hold next week's. Because next week, Saturday, is going to be that, remember on the 15th, Chasing Blades. Oh, where's their sticker? I had their sticker out here. I don't know where it went. Chasing Blades, my favorite whatnot seller, is going to be holding a special show. They're going to be holding their show in their distributor warehouse. And so they're going to have access to thousands of knives and inventory that they normally wouldn't have access to. And so it's going to be a special show. It's going to be really cool. And I can't wait to check it out. So I don't know if I'm going to actually even hold a show next week, now that I think about it. I'm going to, well, I'm going to see when they run, how long they plan on running. And maybe we might run a show in conjunction. I don't know. But I really want to check that out. So if you haven't yet, if you're not on Whatnot, go check out Whatnot. I've got a link below where you can open up open up an account if you haven't done so yet. And I think you can even get a I believe you can even get a small amount of credit if you were to join through my link. So I don't know how much, but you might get a few bucks of credit when you join through that link. So go check it out and check out Chasing Blades show on the 15th because it's going to be a special one. A lot of stock. I'm hoping to get my hands on some Spyderco then. But anyway, thank you guys so much. And hopefully I'll have more stuff for you when we do run another show. Either way, I know I'm planning on a lot of new videos, so I'm going to be pumping those out, and I hope you enjoy those. But thanks again for coming by, spending some time with me, and I hope you guys had some fun. So thanks again. You guys are friggin' awesome. I got to go clean up a bunch of stuff and go eat. So I will catch you guys later. I don't have an outro still for this, so I'm just going to go ahead and end it here. And you guys, again, awesome as always. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.